Let's Arena make some noise. We got 2 more matches coming today. Welcome back, everybody. This series has major playoff implications, as Malik just said. I'm Puckett. We've got Crumbs, Reinforce, and Zoe to talk about it. We got a great series already between Florida and Seoul. Let's start there with you, Zoe. Were you expecting a 4-0 from Seoul today?
No.
Oh, you believe Florida?
No, but I mean, they have been performing really, really well. And to be honest, looking at the first half, it was basically just like one fight deciding each of those maps. Like, it was really, really close, and that makes me incredibly happy. I love seeing those guys performing well on stage.
Let's take a look at the full schedule for the day. If you're just joining us, yes, you missed Seoul versus Florida, but Seoul walks away with the victory. It wasn't the 4-0 they were looking for, though, and that is going to open the door for some of their opponents lower on the standings. The big match is coming up right now, and that's the Philadelphia Fusion versus the Valiant. Johnny, we need Philly to get a 3-0 or a 4-0 today.
Yes, and I mean, they have been on fire as of very recently, of course, so it is very likely that they would grab that spot. But if they slip up, the Los Angeles Gladiators are waiting for that and can capitalize.
Absolutely, it's going to be tough. They control their destiny, though. Will the Philadelphia Fusion be able to do it? Let's jump right into it. I want to start here with the Fusion. Let's talk about this squad, and starting with you, Crumbs. Why is this team so good right now? Because when we started the Overwatch League, we didn't see them in the preseason. We didn't know what to expect. It seems every time they mount the stage, they're looking better and better.
So mechanically, they're amazing. The DPS in this team are outrageous. They're actually working very well with the team. But as we've seen them develop into a team, what I really like about them is how they pick on the opposing team's either weakness or what is giving them the most trouble really, really well. And so coming into the match against the Valiant, I think that's going to pay dividends, because picking on tanks and supports has worked against so many teams, because they also happen to be shot callers, and if they have any say, it might even end into spawn camping or just harassing mini divas, and that is just sad.
Yes, and it's nice to see this change of pace, right? Because earlier in the stage, of course, we saw Philadelphia Fusion play very aggressive. Then they got destroyed by the London Spitfire. And then they started to change up their pace. They realized, okay, we cannot only just play Genji and Tracer into the deep back line. And then we saw Carpe popping up on the Widowmaker, of course. So it's nice to see Philadelphia changing things up, and they're looking better and better every week.
Scariest player on the team right now?
Carpe.
Carpe, all day, Carpe. We'll talk about him a little bit more in the future. Right now, I want to talk about Valiant. Zoe, this squad was looking so good. Stage 1, everyone was hyped. We're hoping they would get into the playoffs. Stage 2, it's been a little bit rougher. They've lost 3 of their last 4. What's going on with this squad?
Oh, a lot, actually. And if you want to have the full story, you should head over to their official YouTube channel, as they're doing like really big videos with a lot of insightful information from the players and the coaches. But to set the stage here a little bit, they parted ways with their coach Cuddles earlier in the stage, thinking he might have been the problem. Turns out he wasn't. So then the finger pointing started in their team, and they started to blame each other. With the lack of a coach being physically here, it was on the players to actually give feedback to the other players, which caused a lot of, you know, bad blood almost in between the players. Now Moon had took the lead, is their coach now. He has been in Korea, remote coaching them for some time, and now he's physically here. And they have been making a lot of changes. We saw role swaps. We saw a Karif playing on DPS all of a sudden, and Agilities and Silk Thread, who were at DPS role at the beginning, weren't anymore. They were replaced by Karif. Now, in one of their latest videos called Last Chance, they were talking about how Agilities lost his DPS spot against Karif, and last week they gave him a last chance, as the video is actually saying. So let's take a look at a quick clip from that video.
So you understand that you're going to have a shot at the main roster again. Yeah. But to be transparent with you, like, this is the shot, right? Yeah. And so I really hope that you go into this giving it everything you can and really working as hard as you possibly can and showing everyone how hard you're working and how much you're learning from Coach Moon, because, you know, this is the shot. If this doesn't work, it's going to be really hard to kind of build that bond up again. You know, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm really looking forward to see what you can do with like a more structured system.
All right, so that's obviously pretty tough to hear. Like that hit me right in here, right in the feels.
Right in the field.
Right in the feels. That's where it hit. So last week it was Agility's last chance, and they lost both their matches. So I sat at home and wept for a little bit until I actually got to see the roster for today, and he's still in. He will be playing on stage again, which makes me incredibly happy to see his second last chance now. Like, I don't know how
well, you can't judge a last opportunity based exclusively on the result of the match, right? Because as an individual, if the things you were working on were actually showing up on stage, you have access to the comms as a coaching staff, you know exactly what's going on. So he definitely, if we saw that, he's proved his worth and has made himself return once again.
And you look at their past matches, I mean, they got a victory over Houston. That was a surprise 4-0, but they got 4-0'd by the Gladiators. They lost a 4-1 in 3. Their most recent match was against Boston, and that went all the way to a Game 5. They're looking a little bit improved, but even in that series against Boston, Valiant were constantly switching things up. So if the Valiant are going to play spoiler today, help out all the Seoul fans here today, Johnny, how do they get the job done?
I think actually you just need to rely on your pure aggression. It's, you know, agility. It's the bread and butter of the Valiant, in my opinion. Soon hitting up the backline with his Tracer. Agility is, of course, on the Genji, diving the backline. And then you have Fate and Envy. 2 incredible tanks, of course, to back them up. So I just want to see pure aggression. No more of that Soldier and Widowmaker fuss. You know, get right to it.
We got the hometown squad facing off against a team that could lock up a spot in the playoffs. I want to hear from the crowd. How many people want to see the hometown Los Angeles Valiant win this match? How many people out there want to see the Philadelphia Fusion lock up their spot in Sunday's title matches?
I think there's a...
Not a whole lot.
All the Thunder sticks are orange, so I'm counting them all.
All right, well, it's time to get this match started right now. It's the Fusion taking on the Valiant.
It's crunch time for the Philadelphia Fusion.
Man, Valiant looking great right now.
Poco is there to turn it on his head. That is what Fraggy does right there. The most aggressive Reinhardt in the history of Overwatch.
Oh, Fate coming in hard, man. He's going deep. But Unko going wild on that Zen. It's inexorable! I got a bit excited about that one, man. I'm not going to lie.
Let's hear for our first squad. It's the Philadelphia Fusion. Our crowd not necessarily wanting them to win this series, but you gotta love the support for the 6 men entering the stadium today. They're 6-3 in stage 2. They've added some crazy tools like EQO and Snillo into the mix, and every single time we watch the squad, they're looking better.
I mean, even if you aren't a fan of the Philadelphia Fusion, you just have to appreciate the play coming out of them, right? We have Carpe and EQO. We've seen Snillo in the past, and they have Shadowburn on the bench if they want to, right? Poke bombs, of course, they are a thing, yeah. We love them. So even though you might not be a fan of the Philadelphia Fusion, at least appreciate the top-level Overwatch coming out of them.
And respect, absolutely. You have to. I mean, these guys legitimately were heralded as by the Seoul Dynasty as the best team in stage 2. So they have yet to get to that level based on their results. But when they are improving, they look really damn good because every single player comes up big. They actually have individual talent that allows them to get those big wins similar to the New York Excel.
One of the best teams from the West for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I did talk to them about this stage and their really good performance we saw. And they said that it was just the meta, the general map pool really suited their players. And if they win the match today, they will be 13-7 overall in good position to contend for the actual Season 1 playoffs.
All right, keep your eyes on that DPS duo, but also look out for Fraggy. How big is he going to be able to go today, going up against the Los Angeles Valiant? So much love in the venue for this squad. I love the support these guys get every single time. They're 11-7 overall. Just 4-4 here in stage 2.
But you remember this week could be very different for them. We haven't seen them on Wednesday, on Thursday. They're coming in fresh. Nobody knows what to expect out of this squad, so they have that element of surprise coming into this match against Philly.
Yeah, and this week they actually announced a new addition to the roster. It's not a player, it's a coach. Stoop is his name. Some might know him as the former tank, I think, from Envious as well as Fnatic. Not fantastic. They are fantastic, though.
Of course they were.
Yeah, absolutely. So under the leadership of head coach Moon, Stoop will act as the head coach for the Valiant sister team.
Coaching up Fate, the tanks today here, Johnny. As we look at this squad, though, the big thing I noticed was Kariv is on the stage, Soon is on the stage, Agilities is on the stage, right? 3
that
DPS
lineup.
players, arguably.
Yeah,
You want to see them flip things around like they did last time against Boston.
Kareem is probably back on the support role, of course. But those 3 players aside, Pocket, they're great and all. But I'm looking out for Faith and Envy in this game because Fisher got absolutely destroyed versus Philadelphia last time. So, in my opinion, Faith has to be the one turning up and shutting down the DPS of Philadelphia.
I think Agility is going to be the one to turn up. I mean, if he's got the back burner on him, he's going to be able to perform at a higher level if that's what's expected of him to maintain this spot. So I'm looking out for him to just go Super Saiyan.
Philly controls their destiny in Stage 2. Los Angeles Valiant trying to keep the door open for the Gladiators and the Soul Dynasty. Are you guys ready to get this match started? Make some noise, because we got your casters. It's Monty and Doa.
Thank you, Puckett. That's right. Philadelphia Fusion versus LA Valiant, our second match of the day here. I'm excited about this one, man. I love watching Philly play. They have been better and better throughout the stage, and now their fate is really in their own hands. Well, I mean, fate's also on the other team, but you get what I'm saying anyway. Philadelphia, with that big win over Gladiators, have put themselves in a position to grab that playoff spot.
Yeah, and as you say, and as Malik mentioned earlier, all Philly needs is a 3-0 or a 4-0, and they will put themselves into the stage playoffs. If they fail to reach the 3-0 or the 4-0, we will have to wait to see how the Gladiators do, and possibly the Soul Dynasty as well, depending on how the dominoes fall. And also, if you're a Valiant fan, there is still an outside possibility that even they can make it into the stage playoffs, but it would require some pretty crazy circumstances to happen. But it would start with a big win here.
I'm pretty sure they'd need to like 4-0 New York as well later in the way. It would be a bit challenging, but it is not mathematically impossible. That is true. We're going to start things out on Hanamura, guys. It's going to be our assault map. Excited to see what Valiant could do. Agilities has been performing well ever since apparently that faithful encounter in a Taco Bell drive-thru in the rain or whatever that was. I'm not sure.
Perfectly
That's like
natural conversation with a camera aimed at the back seat.
It's like, hey man, you want to get a Crunchwrap Supreme, and then you get this is your last chance. Like, whoa, where'd that come from, man?
Intense.
No
Intense.
kidding.
So, for those of you wondering, Kareem for the Valiant alongside Agilities is because he can play the Ana. He will probably play the Mercy on attack or point B defense. Meanwhile, they will be running a dive defense. So we've seen this from them on Hanamura before.
Whoa.
And because it's the Philadelphia Fusion, we should not expect anything except for dive on Hanamura. If they do anything else, it will be a surprise.
But they do it well, you know,
Oh,
that's the key.
Yeah, they absolutely do it well. They rely on the individual ability of players like Carpe and EQO to make these compositions work out in their advantage. So here we go, Hanamura.
Indeed, Philadelphia Fusion on the attack, LA Valiant on the defense. Here on the assault map to get things started out, Philadelphia just has to break through that doorway, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go aggressive early on. And I thought I took my glasses off for a second there, but it was actually just there, yeah. We're okay now.
We're okay.
Like
So
double vision, whoa.
both of these teams firing through the doorway, trying to get enough chip damage to commit to a dive. You can see Agilities on the high ground on the left side. They're going to rush the back corner trying to get to these supports.
Yeah, that's right. Poco demeched almost instantly. That's going to not make it too easy for them to continue with this. And now he's dead soon, finishing him off. He got that mech as well, and Fusion has to back away. They can't make much out of this push. Now, can Fraggy escape? He's actually going to put a little bit more pressure on the high ground and going to get chased now, taken out. It did create a little bit of room, though, for Philadelphia to pick up a couple kills. Now EQO trying to capitalize on that. But again, both of these attacks, they've been Sans one tank. So
and that was actually a great bait from Fraggy. The Philadelphia Fusion baited the DPS of the Valiant into or out of the sightline of the Valiant supports. So when they came in, the Fusion collapsed on them, and that was going to be probably the end of this attack.
Well, they've got those attackers' advantages with the spawns, too. Valiant, though, nano boost on the Envy as he tries to stand strong on the point. EQO pulls out the Dragon Blade, though. Takes Agilities down as his first victim. And here comes a Transcendence from Boombox, keeping Fusion up. But now EQO, 8 HP. Oh, and he can't escape Fate, both literally and figuratively. Fate finishing Boombox off as well, so Fusion getting a bit of time on the control meter, but not able to finish off the point just yet.
Yeah, that's lucky, I think, for the Valiant. They were in a pretty desperate situation, but the Fusion are not letting up yet. Fraggy, however, will fall. This will be the end of this attack. Neptuno getting low, taken out by Agilities during the Dragon Blade. That may have been an overcommitment on the side of the Valiant.
I'm not sure if he needed to pull that one out, but they have secured the point for the moment anyway. Philadelphia will be able to start off with at least a tick taken. Nearly got that second one. It was actually really close.
Here we go, Carpe sneaking around on the flank again, trying to get the pulse bomb. Is he gonna get anything? Yes, he will.
Unko a bit too close to that one. Good start for Philly. Fate taking a lot of damage from that self-destruct. Soon got caught by it as well. Carpe with the finishing blow, and Philadelphia in prime position now to take point A. They should have this one.
Yeah, there was no peel for the supports from the Valiant. The rest of the team was following behind a nano-boosted Fate Winston, but that again meant that Valiant was cut
big D-Mech
from the sight lines, and that is a big D-Mech.
Yeah, losing Envy's mech like that is really going to give Fusion a lot of momentum coming into B. See if they can capitalize on it right now. They've only got the Primal Rage, but having Valiant essentially down one tank is pretty big. Looks like Envy went back to spawn and swapped. Yeah, Fate. Agility's down too. Fraggy pops that Primal Rage. Just wants to look as tough as possible on the point right now, apparently.
He's very intimidating. He's also trying to deal with the Ana. Gets woken up immediately.
Yeah, that's right. Kareem's like, oh, please. Philadelphia back on the point. They've nearly got it. Dragon Blade trying to secure it. They're going to add the sound barrier on top of that as well. Fate falls one more time. EQO fighting it out, but now they've got the Transcendence and the Dragon Blade on the Valiant side to contend with. Boombox responds with his own Zenyatta ultimate, keeping everybody healthy for the moment. Unko taken out again. Self-destruct. We'll see if it picks anybody up. No, not quite. And it's a brawl, but Philadelphia Fusion coming out big, and they will take point B. 4 minutes and 12 seconds on the time bank. Pretty awesome attack for Philly.
Yeah, good once they got rolling. Took some time on point A to find those weaknesses and press their advantage. But on B, that initial D-Mech, as you said, Doa, made it so they had a window, especially because they were getting the trance up soon, quickly after moving on to the point. That means Philly gonna have plenty of time left. 4 minutes, 12 seconds in the bank after a nice decisive Hanamura run.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how Envy found himself that far up when Philly had taken point A. That was definitely not the place for the Diva to be at the moment. And they paid for it big time. So, Philadelphia on the defense now, and Envy and the rest of LA Valiant will have to try to equalize, but it's a pretty big ask when your opponent still has over 4 minutes in the time bank. We've seen it happen, though. It's not outside of the realm of possibility at all.
And it is going to be back to the Genji Widowmaker, what the Valiant like to run on attack when they have this roster of players in with Kareev. Talked about it earlier that he would be moving over to the Mercy, and they'll probably swap over to Soldier Tracer for point B if they make it that far, with Agilities picking up the Soldier 76, unless they have a new strategy prepared for us today, but it does seem like they are falling back on their previous patterns of play.
That is correct. Valiant need a pretty valiant effort to try to equalize what Philly's done in their attack round.
Yeah, we'll see how good Philly is at staying out of these sight lines. And if Soon is actually going to get any kind of ability to get a pick or an opportunity.
All right, Soon on the Widowmaker. Looking for those picks. Valiant needs to find the right sight lines. Soon probably going to loop around to the left here. That's right. Takes a chunk out of Poco. Those are pretty big shots. Poco down to about half HP. Should get some healing in the near future, though. But they push Philadelphia all the way back. They're going to have to try to come back in through the house. You can kind of see them through the wall there.
Yeah, what they're doing is they're rotating over onto the point to provide Soon with room. Carpe is sneaking up behind him, but he's not going to be able to follow him on top of the pagoda.
I mean, that's half the control meter taken by Valiant already. Now Soon fighting it out with Carpe. A little bit of support from his other DPS. Carpe grabs a health pack. I think he threw the recall in there as well. Backs away. So Valiant still pressuring this point big time right now. Push back. Poco goes deep. Gets a little bit low, but he's got his other tank there to help him out. Fraggy gets the D-Mech onto Envious. And that's a pretty big pick for Philadelphia.
Yeah, getting that mech out now is going to delay them even further. Nano boost onto the monkey.
Envy down again. Meanwhile, Fraggy with that Ana ultimate, pushing everybody back, but it's Agilities with the Dragon Blade lighting up the kill feed. Gonna get taken down, but res immediately by Kareev. Valiant still pushing forward here.
And they've got Soon, but he's barely alive right now. Kareem finally doubles back to help heal him up. EQO contesting on the roof, takes out Soon, and it's going to be cleanup here for the Fusion.
That's right, Fraggy a little bit low here. Looks like they're gonna reset. Yeah, Agility is just backing off. Envy trying to escape here. If they can get the D-Mech onto him, that would be big. Fate supporting him. Fraggy in trouble, didn't get the jump through the window. Oh dear, and Uncle there to finish it.
Mistake.
Yep, that's gonna be Philadelphia really short-handed on this next defense.
Wow, yeah, pushing too far forward and then making a mechanical error. Can't get back through the choke to his healers. And now the Valiant should have every opportunity to get point A.
Boombox got Agility, so they needed a big pick like that, but they need more. They're going to lose Neptuno instead, though. Transcendence used. There goes Carpe, and Philadelphia, like we expected, even after Fraggy returns, going to have a pretty tough time defending this one.
That bull rush into the 6v5. That's
what you do.
Not that hard to set up. Valiant find themselves an opening, and they will now have an opportunity to equal the score of the Fusion.
That's those little overextensions, right? It was Envy overextending on the point B defense that gave Philly the momentum to take it. Now it's Fraggy overextending on the defensive attack a little bit. That gives point A over to the Valiant.
Well, had he actually landed those jumps properly, he wouldn't have been in that scenario. So that's just basically an unforced error right there.
Sure. Put yourself in that situation, though. It happens sometimes. Agilities with the Dragon Blade, low health, has to back off. Still gets a couple slashes in. Maybe gets the D-Mech onto Poco. Looks like it did. Boombox down as well. Valiant with a lot of power coming into point B right now. Fraggy returns. Getting pushed back almost immediately, though. Gotta get back to Swan. That's one tick already for the Valiant.
Nano Blade.
They're doing it, man. Oh, EQO down too. And Valiant still pushing in. Poco kind of on his own. Now you need to stagger. Now you need to buy time. If you're the Fusion, just try to delay this for as long as possible. But Valiant was such a huge advantage. Like, who in the world is going to deal with Soon?
And right
Gotta
now,
be EQO.
but Carpe is cutting down the supports outside of the main point. So Carpe may be the one to save this for the Fusion. Poco has got a chance to get back right now as the self-destruct. Oh, the Valiant comes through.
Neptuno went for the very aggressive sleep dart, but didn't end up landing it. Valiant still handling some of these respawns. EQO finally with a kill onto Agilities here, but they get Poco in return. Envy can't quite stay in the mech, it looks like. No, and Fate asleep. LA Valiant pushed back at the last second. Kareev comes in on the Mercy. Big anti-heal comes in from Neptuno, though. Fusion trying to turn it into more kills. Neptuno the one who goes down. There goes Fate. So, defender's advantage comes through for Philadelphia. They don't give up the point, but they do give up 2 ticks.
Philadelphia, again, they're focusing on cutting off the healing to the Valiant's front line works again. While the rest of his teammates are trying to stagger themselves on the point, that's when we see Carpe come down, kill Unko, harass the Mercy, Kareev in the back lines, and that's what gives Philly the opportunity to get back onto the point.
Oh, time to become the boosted animal. Fraggy keeping everybody bottled up at the door. Nano boost expires here. A little bit of damage on Agilities. They have pushed Valiant back. Valiant, though, easy to just kind of back off and let that ultimate go through.
Yeah, they don't have Primal Rage, and they're not willing to push out into the courtyard on the upper level. However, Carpe, once again, with a flank right here.
How many times have we seen this?
Yeah, he's been torturing the supports of the Valiant this game.
Here we go again. Big stick on the Kareev.
Falcon Kareev.
Man, he just used the Mercy ultimate. That one's got to hurt. Unko goes down as well. Philadelphia eliminating both supports early. Carpe and EQO strike back for the moment, but it's not going to do Valiant any favors. Fusion will continue to hold.
Kareev now has had enough of this. Finally, they're going to move over Agilities to the Soldier 76, and they're going to pair it with the Ana. So now they're going to try and punish Philadelphia Fusion with a biotic grenade for some of these dives, and Kareev will have some form of crowd control to help himself out. So it's more of a poke composition now for the Valiant. They will not be diving in. It's about chunking somebody out.
Well, they've got a big ultimate advantage, too. Coming into this one with Thor and Fraggy and EQO, probably the only ones that are going to have it on the Philly side. I suppose Nano Boost for Neptuno maybe soon.
I'll be getting that before this fight starts.
Should have the edge. I think should have the edge, that is. Go throwing in those missiles. Dragon Blade comes out for, well, I thought I heard a Dragon Blade. It's been hallucinating there. Fraggy, though, using that Primal Rage. You think he needed to use it right there?
I think they're just buying time because they know how many ults the Valiant have.
All right, Neptuno down. Valiant starting things off in a hurry. There's another nano boost onto Fraggy.
Got the trance. EQO coming in with a Dragon Blade, but he hits the ceiling. Oh no!
Oh man, and everybody on Fusion taken out. That's going to be Valiant completing point B. They're going to end it with a minute 25 in the time bank. So, not the greatest attack for Fusion at the end for the defense, but still a much better time in the time bank on the Philly side.
Yeah, we talk about the individual skill of these Fusion players, though, and there were some noticeable mechanical errors that were allowing openings for the Valiant. Regardless of whether that Dragon Blade was effective, it looked like Valiant were going to take that point anyway, but you still hate to see that.
Well, I mean, when you come into it with the advantage that Valiant had on that last fight, too, it was kind of their fight to lose, and certainly those little mechanical issues on the Fusion side help with that.
Yeah.
If you're a Valiant player. Doesn't help you if you're a Fusion player.
It definitely does not.
Not so much.
So nice swap up there at the end, though, for the Valiant, trying something new. And you could see what Philadelphia was attempting. Fraggy goes in with the Primal Rage to delay them as much as he can. Then they nano boost him because they realize they're at a big ult deficit. So just trying to force them to use some of those ults or at least delay the point even further. And it'll be a minute 25 here for the Valiant to work their magic, but this is a team that thrives in overtime.
Man, you're right. It's crazy how often we see the Valiant in overtime when it really comes down to the high pressure situations in these maps. That's when this team really seems to come alive. So
definitely.
This is another one of those times. Minute 25 in the time bank as Valiant goes on the attack. Down but not out here on Hanamura. Let's see what they can get done. Soon going to be looking for picks again on that Widowmaker.
Same strategy. This time, Carpe and EQO are both on Fate's left side. They're behind him right now, so staying out of the sidelines, but they've changed it up so the DPS are both on one side.
Yeah, going to try to punish a little bit. Oh, Unko and Agility's going down early. Fusion with a big defensive win. So far, they did lose Neptuno. Going to take a while for him to get back. But Fate can't complete the kill onto EQO. That would have been big as well.
Fusion's baits on this point A have been executed perfectly. The first time we saw Fraggy offering up the bait, and then the Valiant taking it, over-committing on the stairway on the right side. This time, it's the two tanks and two supports that draw out the front line of the Valiant, and that's when EQO and Carpe collapse with Fraggy on the back line and punish the overcommitment.
That's right, Valiant trying to come in again. Only 20 seconds or so remaining in their attack round. It's now or never for these guys. This attack must succeed. Philadelphia Fusion nano boost over to Fraggy, and he's going to find the supports a bit alone. Soon down already. EQO, a kill on the side of the fight. Fraggy escaping with 40 HP, gets back to the big health pack just in time. Envy down, though. Valiant without one of their tanks. Goodbye, Agilities. Not agile enough that time around, and nobody gets to the point. Good hold by Fusion. It ended up only being about 2 fights in that round, but both really well executed on the Philly side.
I'm impressed with how Philadelphia's communication is developing and how they've realized the Valiant supports have been alone for most of this match. They're getting Fate and Envy to overcommit to them and then punishing the supports as a result. You saw it again there, and we'll see what Philadelphia can do on their attack round. They need but a single tick to win Hanamura.
It's kind of tough for the Valiant because you feel like on a map like this, you're kind of playing Philly's game, right? You're using their comp, but they seem to kind of just be better at it than you are.
Well, I think that's the issue with the Philadelphia Fusion in general. If you're trying to plan against them, it's not a surprise what they run. They run a ton of dive. They diversified it a little bit when we saw them play their last match, running Snillo and Carpe and a Tracer Widow look. But for the most part, it's dive for this team. They have that, but it's the bread and butter composition of professional Overwatch teams. The reason why teams perfect it is because it can be used anywhere on any map.
And Philly's kind of taking that to the nth degree, right? It's the old phrase where it's like, I don't fear the man that's practiced 10,000 different kicks. I fear the man that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. And I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said that, but it sure is true today. Pretty sure I got that quote right.
I'm pretty sure you did, Noah.
Thanks. Philadelphia Fusion on the attack here, playing what else but the dive. EQO and Carpe coming in on the Genji Tracer. Lots of time for them to get that single tick on point A. That's all they need to do to win this map. A very crucial series, and Agility's down already. Great start for Philadelphia Fusion, eliminating the Genji on the Valiant side early. Valiant needs to get in here, man. They cannot give up a single tick.
And they're going to start to dive the back right now,
Just
wrapping
zoning.
around again to
It's a
deal
zoning
with
game.
Emco. Sleep Dart hits him, but
They're right there, man. That's it. It's just Philly playing a simple zoning game. You push everybody back, somebody hangs out on the point, you only need that one tick. That's how you do it.
yeah, absolutely. Distract them in the back lines. Fate could not get back to the point. Most of 3 of the Philly players were just sitting there on the point, making sure that they could get that quick cap, and it will be the Philadelphia Fusion up 1-0 in this series.
Yeah.
Their fate is in their hands. They are on their way to the Stage 2 playoffs.
Yeah, strong first map from the Philadelphia Fusion. I can never see someone getting annoyed by that. And Valiant with a chance to tie up the series here on our control map. We'll see if they can do it. Don't go anywhere, guys. More Overwatch League action coming at you right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
I'm Fraggy. I grew up in Finland. I play main tank for Philadelphia Fusion. Fraggy comes from the Frag, which is really popular FPS games. I used to be Frag Hunter when I was young, and it kind of shortened out into Fraggy.
Fraggy just taking matters into his own hammer.
I grew up in a big family back in Finland. We moved around a bit when I was young, so I switched friends a lot. So I think that's why I got so much maybe into PC gaming, so I could keep touching with my old friends and play together.
Fraggy's just stealing all the kills. It's in his name.
I used to listen to a lot of metal music, but nowadays it's more like gaming, OSTs, and like Japanese music, Asian music in general.
Oh, what? How did he get behind him? Fraggy!
My personal goal for Overwatch Season 1 is to get in the playoffs at least. With our team, I feel it's really possible, and hopefully get the championship even.
Philadelphia Fusion bring us massive upset.
Well, there you go, guys. Fraggy on your screen right now. Went from the metal to the video game OST soundtrack. Yeah,
It was a downgrade, really.
Yeah, Iced Earth to Kingdom Hearts. Sure. Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Just go the other way. Let's get it back again, Frag.
Hey, you know,
There's tons of good metal that comes out of Finland, too.
Sure there is. You know, and you know, a lot of those game OSTs are like fantasy oriented, and then you have like certain metal bands that are quite fantasy oriented as well, too. I'm looking at you, Rhapsody of Fire. That's right. It's a good band. But it's been a good match so far, too, for the Philadelphia Fusion. They are one map over the Valiant right now, but Valiant subbing out Unko. They're going to put in Verbo in his place. Going to look for those hot Lucio boops on Nepal, I'm guessing.
I don't know how many times he's going to have an opportunity. We'll see if we go to Sanctum.
Depends.
For some hot Lucio boops, as you say, Noah. I will be quoting you on that one. So
You're welcome to. Go ahead.
it is interesting, though, because typically they would run Verbo and Unko here instead of having Verbo and Kariv. They want to bring in the Lucio, however, and they're trying something a bit different.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if that's going to translate into a perhaps different style of composition than we've seen from them previously.
Could be.
We are going to be on Village, and we have seen agilities on the Pharah here in the past. So Tracer Pharah has been a go-to, and this obviously would mean Kariv with the Mercy. Kariv is the better Mercy player between Unko and Kariv, so starting to make a little bit of sense, but indicating that we're going to be heading towards probably some heavy Pharah play here as they try and find an answer for the dive composition that we 100% know Philadelphia is going to run.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look at the utility that a character like Lucio brings to maps like this, too. I mean, if you're playing against Genji on the other side, like EQO, that's really good, man. Those right clicks from Lucio, pushing Genji away during the Dragon Blade at just the right time, can really win a fight for you. So, Verbo's the best Lucio on this team. I think we've seen this before.
Yes.
I'm not super surprised that they'd bring him in for this.
I'm not either. It has been their go-to pick for control maps when it comes to supports in this second stage of the Overwatch League. And as you can see, we are on Village. It will be Philadelphia playing dive, and it will be the Valiant running the Tracer and the Pharah.
All right. It's all about agility as to what he can get done with the Rocket Queen as we go forward here onto Village. Valiant rushing in, and Agility's already trying to cover that doorway that Philadelphia is coming out of. They're going to go in for the very aggressive dive. Whoa, that is a bunch of kills already. Envy and Verbo going down, and man, they're just like, you know what? You can only fire rockets so fast. We're just going to run right past you.
I mean, they blitzed the opposite room and said, okay, we're just going to ignore the Pharah. We're going to take out your tanks instead, and now we're just going to take the point. So Agility's sad and alone right now. His teammates are coming back to join him, but it will be too late to take the point.
Yeah, and you can't take the point as Pharah. You're just going to get in there and get wrecked, right? Fate, Rez, Valiant not giving up just yet here. Philadelphia Fusion already building that control percent here on our King of the Hills style Nepal. Oh, a lot of damage onto Agility. Is going to EQO get the finish? No, not quite. Tough to do that with the Genji.
Yeah, they've been losing the ground war this entire time. Boombox is going to come back with a Transcendence, but it is going to be a fool's errand as he is forced.
Whoa!
Gets
Gonna send him
Fate.
back to the moon, apparently.
Gets Fate, but that Trance is one you're going to want back if you are the Philadelphia Fusion. Didn't really do much for you, didn't stall out the point at all, and you could have used it on your next attack. So soon, Gonna be looking out right now, trying to find a target for this pulse bomb.
All right, Agilities goes in, drops a barrage. He drops Poco with it, avoids a self-destruct. Neptuno down, Valiant seizing control in a big way on this map. Goodbye, Boombox. And here's the thing. If you're able to take the point and you have far and you can play defensively, you're in a much, much better position. And now Valiant just got themselves there. So will they be able to hold it? That's the question.
It's all about controlling that space, and there's not an opportunity for the Fusion to run to the opposite side of the map and catch them in the buildings like they did at spawn. Now they're in a much more defensible, open position in the middle of the map where the Pharah can cover all of the allies.
Yeah, that's right. Ooh, soon you can tell he was thinking about that pulse bomb, but Poco right there, gonna throw it in anyway. Boombox avoids a lot of that damage. They drop the sound barrier on the Philly side as well. EQO hunting for a chance to use that Dragon Blade, and he may find it right here. Mercy in trouble. Can he get the finish? Oh, he's getting low on health as well. The Reflect tries to get out with the wall. Meanwhile, Fate taken down. EQO still alive, and that could be big. Envy gonna get DMAC'd by the pulse bomb from Carpe. A little bit of wall art being done by EQO, but meanwhile, Valiant winning this fight anyway, and the Dragon Blade comes out after it's over. Man, he held it for so long, and I don't think that was the right time to finally use it.
I mean, the plus side is you could say, okay, we got the sound barrier out in a situation where we were going to be struggling anyway.
Sure.
But Fate is still here. He still has the Primal Rage. They have such great control over this point right now. They flip it back. The Philly snuck in there and took it. But the Fusion have struggled. I mean, we saw that stat. They're 1-4 on Nepal overall, but they are throwing away a lot of ultimates in this map so far.
Yeah, I mean, Control is the only map type that Philadelphia has a losing record on in the Overwatch League. They're 12-13 on this type overall, and you can see them struggling still a little bit here today. Soon, fighting that Tracer duel. Meanwhile, Fate just again trying to keep Fusion from getting to the point, if he can.
They're trying to come around right now, just controlling these doorways with the Primal Rage and the Pharah rockets. Fraggy
there, nice pulse bomb from Soon. Overtime expiring already. Carpe is going to try to keep it going, but short-handed are the Fusion as they come in. They've got the sound barrier though. They've got Fate, so maybe an opportunity to flip this thing around. It looks like they will. So Valiant takes it to 99%, but Fusion will flip it one more time.
And this is one of those times where Agilities might want to start thinking about moving off the Pharah. You have enough time to maybe build up a Dragon Blade if you switch to the Genji.
Yeah.
Barrage, probably not going to be that useful unless he can find an exceptional angle.
I totally agree, man. I mean, and yeah, you're getting kind of close to that barrage, but, you know, again, it's harder to be the attacking team with the Pharah than the defending one.
Carpe used his Pulse Bomb there onto Envy, but didn't get the kill. And now that means that Kareem and Verbo going to have some more ult charge to work with as they look to drop in.
Oh, goodbye, Neptuno and Boombox. No more supports for Philadelphia Fusion. Verbo falls as well. Philadelphia in big trouble here. Valiant winning this fight in a hurry, but it is 99%. EQO, he can end it himself right here with a good Dragon Blade, but it's not going to happen. Valiant taking the fight, and as soon as they deal with Carpe, and as soon as they deal with Neptuno, and I think that's going to be about it.
That's going to be
GG overtime. Valiant going to take Village.
Despite the strong opening from the Philly Fusion, decisively winning the first fight, knowing the Pharah was going to come in and having a strategy to deal with it. Once Valiant got control of the points again, it was some mistakes in communication, led to some bungled ultimates from the side of the Fusion.
Yep.
And the Valiant are able to take advantage. And we're going to Shrine next. And we'll see if the Pharah comes out again here or if they want to run their usual of Tracer Soldier.
Well, Shrine's a little bit more tricky of a place to use Pharah on. So yeah, looks like they're going to stick Agilities on that Soldier 76. Makes a lot of sense here. Valiant, if they win this round, they will win the map, tie up this series. Fusion would prefer that doesn't happen. They're going to try to win it, swing it back their direction, playing that classic dive like we kind of assume they always will.
Yeah, it should be a slow push in here from the Valiant. They're starting to get control over the sight lines on the point.
Yep.
And now Philly needs to find an opening in the back or on one of the flanks with their dive.
That point unlocks. Philadelphia is there already, trying to flip it here. Valiant push back a little bit. Oh, but they do get the kill on EQO. Valiant loses Envy's mech, though. That's going to be a problem. Agility slowly working his way forward, but it's going to be Philly that gets the point first, and they're getting the kills, too. So Valiant, despite the measured attack, is going to have to take a break and reset. Agility's taking a dive.
EQO sacrifices his life, but it comes at the price of both of the tanks from the Valiant. Philadelphia was pushing the point aggressively in spite of having the lower amount of poke damage, so it's probably a situation that should never have developed in the first place for the Valiant. But here they are, trying to retake now, and Agilities is going to switch to the Genji.
Okay. Trying to match Genji v Genji against EQO. Valiant coming in, Carpe sneaking around the back of the fight. He's got Kareev a little bit where he wants him. Has to recall, though, after taking some damage. Valiant trying to push in from the same side that they tried to push in before.
Yeah, but this is Philly dancing around the point now. Valiant not finding an opportunity to commit. There's a sound barrier. This is the all-in moment.
Yeah, here's a commitment, and they get Verbo right away. Transcendence comes out a little bit late from Kareev there. Pulse Bomb doesn't get the kills for Carpe, but they are still edging out Valiant in this fight. There's a nice one onto Agilities here, and back on the point as Valiant tries to flip it, but Philadelphia's not going to let him. This round has been pretty one-sided so far.
Yeah, it has been. Fusion bullying the Valiant off the point every time. They waited for the sound barrier, quickly engaged, and there was nowhere for the Valiant to go because they were caught on the side of the map against the drop-off.
Yeah, Neptuno and Boombox getting back just in time, as we can see on our map overview there.
Now, yeah, they're going to come in with a sound barrier, so this is the Valiant's time. They have to win this fight.
Yep, certainly do. Nearly 90% for Fusion already. EQO really low. Ooh, that was a close call. He has that Dragon Blade. They cannot lose him before the fight begins. Meanwhile, Frankie just goes ahead and uses the Primal Rage. Keeps people zoned down a little bit, looking for some knockoffs. Kareev so close to getting knocked away. Has to use the Transcendence just to stay alive. But meanwhile, Carpe down. Our Agility's down too. DPS falling all over the place. We're into overtime, but Valiant coming out ahead in this fight so far. Looks like they'll be able to flip it. Wow, close call. So now if you're Fusion, you've given up the point, and normally, you know, you just wait, you build up some ultimates, come back, but Valiant was able to do that while they used nearly nothing.
Just two ultimates, and Kareev nearly didn't have to use the trance either. Fraggy forced it out of him at the end, so they maintain 4 ultimates, including the critical sound barrier and Dragon Blade combination.
That's not something you normally expect here. Meanwhile, Agilities with the Dragon Blade. You'd expect him to grab some kills. Nearly has the D-Mech, but no, not quite. Doesn't matter. It's enough kills anyway. Valiant gonna keep holding up to about 35% now. Ooh, a late D-Mech on a Poco would be nice, but they're gonna have to let him go.
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky though, Dawn. That's the sound barrier, that's the Dragon Blade. EQO pulls out his blade to force the sound barrier out. Fusion now know they're coming up on 2 support ults, and they can just roll this final fight. Valiant are gonna have to be spectacular to stop this.
A Transcendence are going way in. Whoa, Boombox flying across the map right now. Self-destruct used by Envy. He's gonna slide across the roof like Batman, and he picks up Frankie with that too. That's gonna be a problem for Valiant. They're gonna have to retreat here, but they can't retreat now. If the point gets flipped, that's gonna be Fusion taking the round.
And Carpe's gonna fall, so it's actually 4 members of the Valiant still around right now. It's just Poco and EQO, and they never got the point actually to flip over in their favor.
Oh, it was so close, but now Valiant is gonna get probably near 99 themselves.
Oh yeah, we're heading down to the 99-99. Valiant were willing to give up space on that point, and Philly couldn't close the gap, even with both of their support ultimates. So all of a sudden, the tables have turned. Valiant, again, patient with the ultimates, and it might pay off.
The final fight commencing here. Valiant trying to hold the Fusion off, trying to win this map, but Agilities and Envy are gonna help him do just that.
For Agility.
No kidding. Big dash from the Genji on the Valiant side, and now it's just an angry Fraggy on the point, and that's gonna be pretty easy to deal with. Overtime ticking away, and the Valiant will win Nepal.
Valiant even things up, knock the Fusion down to 1-5 on Nepal, and now the Fusion are not going to be guaranteed that stage playoffs shot, no matter how well they do in the rest of this series.
Yeah, like we said, they needed to either get a 3-0 or a 4-0 to lock up that playoff spot. Now that they've dropped a map, they're not out of it, but they can't guarantee it with this match here.
So a lot to think about for both of these teams. Kings Row and Gibraltar will be coming up after halftime.
That's right, don't go anywhere, guys. The desk is going to break down those first 2 games when we come back after a short break. This is going to be a good one, though. Good maps already, decent dance moves. Well, who am I to judge? Don't go anywhere, guys. More Overwatch League coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network.
The Valiant are looking to play spoiler tonight, and so far, it's looking pretty solid. We're all tied up 1 apiece. The question is, what is going to happen in the second half? So much pressure on the Philadelphia Fusion right now. We knew coming in they controlled their destiny. After dropping a map, well, that has a shakeup in our standings. Let's take a look at the current Stage 2 standings. Now, keep in mind, the series is currently at 1-1. Philadelphia still has 2 more games. They could go up to plus 13 in overall map count, which would give them a big lead over Gladiators, but no longer do you control your destiny.
No, because if Gladiators go ahead and sweep the Boston Uprising tomorrow, they are in the stage playoffs, of course. So Philadelphia Fusion, they need to secure a 3-1 today to give them the best chances, of course.
And of course, we should remind you, Seoul Dynasty, they're done with their Stage 2 matches. They're waiting to see, will they get into the playoffs? They'll be cheering on both Valiant here in the second half and Boston against the Gladiators tomorrow. But let's talk about this series. And things started off pretty well for the Philadelphia Fusion. As we go into Hanamura highlights here, Crumbs, talk me through what were we seeing from our orange team today?
Well, we saw the classic dive coming out of them, and it went pretty much as expected. They were mechanically, I'd say, superior because they were able to just harass the backline so much more. We know that soon Fade and Envy can dive the supports, yes. But when we broke down this game, the key to victory for Philadelphia was attacking the supports, disconnecting them from the tanks, and that's what was happening. The Los Angeles Valiant tanks are really struggling to balance either diving or peeling.
Yeah, and I think it was Doa who said, if you're coming against Philadelphia Fusion with dive, you gotta come up hard, because Philadelphia Fusion, in many ways, they are the kings of dive in the Overwatch League so far, I think. But Los Angeles Valiant, it was pretty close at times, and Hanamura could have gone either way, to be honest.
Can I ask you guys about agilities in general? We showed that piece earlier with him last week being put to the test. You got to perform or you're not going to be in a starting lineup. So far, how has he looked through 2 games?
I think he hasn't been too bad. He's been decent. Not really
outstanding.
The fault. Not outstanding, and it's not really been the fault of the team for losing Hanamura. So I think he's solid performance overall. I think it's more the team work going on a bit, for example, and how you use your resources, perhaps.
We've seen a lot of Mercy today coming in from the Florida match. If you were watching that against Seoul earlier, today it seems like we got a lot of Anas in play. And Johnny, you picked out a special highlight. What are we looking at?
I think this is one of the most deciding moments of the game, to be honest. We got a replay of Neptuno. What an impact he had. First, he distracts Soon here. You can see Valiant, they're so close to capping. Neptuno goes up here, contests Soon, and buys so much time for his DPS players. Drops down, gets an anti-nade on Karid, and I mean, yet again, buys so much time, has such an impact, gets a sleep dart onto Fate, and Karid gets picked out of the sky, of course, and then he finishes off Envy here. So a great play coming out of an offensive Ana play. Very unexpected, but Neptuno in many ways, he saved that fight to me.
We know back in the early days of the Mercy stage, he was constantly running around with that Mercy pistol. Yep. He was fragging everybody as the support player. Today, showing that you don't necessarily need the kills to have a major impact.
Well, that's why the teams that are in contention for playoffs have these players that mechanically can pick up the slack. Somebody's going to get killed first, so is your team the one that has the ability to make plays off the remaining members? Diana clearly does so from Neptuno, so this is the kind of plays that you need to have from every single member. They need to be able to come up clutch when other teammates are getting picked off.
Now, something we noticed during that first game also was that Philly not only looks really strong in their dive right now, but also it's probably in part due to their communication. Crumbs, you were in particularly impressed by this squad. What was it that stood out to you when we listened in?
Yeah, so we got to see a little comms of Philadelphia as they were taking point B of Hanamura. And so when we listen to it, then we'll get to break it down. You guys heard it a little bit earlier. And when you have these communications, it's all about making sure that you have everything that you're saying is crisp. So let's take a listen.
Let's go!
All right, if that was a little bit tough for you at home to understand, for good reason. They have players from 9 different countries on this Philadelphia team. But Crumbs, you were able to make out the conversation. What were your takeaways?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure that the information you're conveying is specific and relevant. So they're actually including direction of where members are. Zenyatta on the right, Baby Diva in the front. So you get to hear exactly where somebody is and who they are. So that's already a bonus. On top of that, you have target calling, be very specific. And then my personal favorite is you save your praise for the end of the fight. You don't need to hear somebody yell out nice after you get one single kill and the fight's not over, because that's just going to clutter up everything. You save it until the fight's already over, you get the release, you're relieved, and then you can celebrate.
I like it. All right, wait till the fight is over before you start celebrating. I will try and do that tonight in my ranked matches. Nice every time I get a kill on Zenyatta.
Nice.
Johnny, let's talk about game 2, though, because, yes, it's all Philly in Hanamura, but when we went to Nepal, we were worried for the squad. Not the best map for Philly in Los Angeles. Seemed they knew that coming in as well.
Yeah, we gotta praise agilities, right? On the Pharah, he started popping off I checked his stats in the middle of this round, and he peaked at something around 15,000 damage per 10 minutes.
Wow.
And sure, Afera has a lot of damage going on, of course, but still, just being able to output so much damage is a struggle for Philadelphia Fusion to cooperate with each other when there's so much damage and healing that needs to be done, of course. So impressive stuff coming out of agility specifically this map.
You said 15,000 damage per 10 minutes
Yep.
at his peak. I was just talking with our stats wizard, Ben, and he said, well, a good number or an average number is between 7,000 and 8,000.
Well, you
That's almost double,
hang
man.
on. I got to play devil's advocate here because Mercy did not do a single point of damage. You have Zenyatta on the other side, so that affects your statistics a lot. But the fact that he was able to actually put the damage necessary, because Philadelphia, once again, they don't respect the Pharah on Nepal. They have struggled with this map, and that's because they stick to Tracer and Genji the whole way through. No Soldier, no McCree, no try to answer. So they're trying to just focus so much on the ground war, but it's really hard. I mean, they're getting better at it, but it's really going up against the grain.
All right. Well, Johnny, we have one more thing to hit here from Nepal. You got a game breakdown for us. What are we looking at this time around?
Well, I praised Neptuno for map 1, but in map 2, he was probably the one doing the mistake, so I gotta point it out and explain to you what happened towards the end of Nepal and why Valiant went away with the win. So, going into this fight, of course, we have the Philadelphia Fusion setting up with a double support ultimate, and they're gonna do a straight B line to the back line, of course. So aggressive, insanely aggressive as we play this thing out. And we can just see how fast they are. Transcendence immediately, no one can die here. But right around here, we have, of course, a self-destruct coming out of Envy. You can see it flying up in the air. And Neptuno, he's forced away because of this. So he's actually fighting Verbo by himself. Now, going into this fight, of course, the plan was to use the double support ultimate because that's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
But because everyone's chasing into this doorway, they're so tightly close together, of course. And Neptuno, he's all by himself, right? So he's gonna activate this sound barrier towards the end of the fight. No one gets it. Absolutely no one of Philadelphia Fusion gets this sound barrier. And it's a huge mistake, of course. You want to play around your Lucio to make it easy, right? But at the same time, Neptuno not being able to give this to any of his members, that's a big reason why you lose this Nepal.
He did win that DJ battle, though.
He did.
Absolutely. Well, I
Bragging
know
rights.
Neptuno is going to call himself out for that mistake. He's one of the old guard here on the Philadelphia Fusion. They know what's on the line. They need these 2 more maps if they want a chance to make it into the Sunday title matches. Will they get it? We'll find out. Kings Row is coming up on the other side.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet, gone.
We are all knotted up here at the Blizzard Arena, 1-1 in this matchup between the Philadelphia Fusion and the LA Valiant. Now, for those of you who are just tuning in, let me give you a quick update. The Philadelphia Fusion, all they had to do was win this match 3-0 or 4-0, and they were in. But they just dropped Nepal to the LA Valiant, which means though they're still in it, they have to A, win out the rest of this match against the Valiant, and B, they need a little help tomorrow when the Boston Uprising face off against the LA Gladiators. So a lot of title match variables at play here. The LA Valiant are looking strong. No Agilities is looking like that star player we've come to know them as. So who knows how this thing can turn out. Let's get right back into the action though and send it over to our casters, the world-class Monty and Doa.
Thank you. Malik, you are world class as well, of course.
Succinctly explaining our very complicated win-loss structure that's going to affect how and which teams get into these Stage 2 playoffs.
Very true. Basically, what it boils down to is that win on Nepal from the Valiant really made things interesting because now it's kind of wide open again, right? We're not going to have Fusion locking out that third playoff spot in this match right here, right now. So means anything could happen over the next day or two.
And looking at the Stage 1 playoffs, Doa, was a Valiant win over the Seoul Dynasty that threw open the doors and let all of the chaos in.
Very true.
As the stage ended, and it was a Seoul loss, and you know what? Maybe a Valiant win that might change things here as well.
Hey, you know, it happened once, why can't it happen again? It's been an interesting end of the stage, that's for sure. Seoul dropping that series to Houston a bit earlier in the week. I don't think a lot of us were expecting that, so upsets abound right now. We're going to Kings Row. It's going to be our hybrid map, of course. You have to take a point, just like on a control map. That unlocks the payload. You push the payload as far as you can, and hopefully push it farther than the other team. That's about it.
To the end of the map. But when we see Kings Row, we're probably going to have Agilities on the Roadhog, so they have been preferring that when they have Agilities in this map, and it actually looks like he will be playing the Zarya instead.
That would be really interesting to see a defensive Zarya with the Winston for Valiant.
Yeah, and also it's going to be soon on a Sombra.
Well,
no,
swapping over to the.
Yeah,
I
it should be on the Widow.
Okay.
That was going to be a very weird look.
Just messing with us, although Agility's not changing.
Envy may want to be on the Reinhardt instead, and that will be, or I mean, Fate will be on the Reinhardt instead, so we'll be triple tank, but instead of using the Roadhog, they will use the Zarya.
Okay, this is looking a bit more normal now.
Yeah, having the Sombra in there would be an extremely short-range composition that could potentially struggle if there was a Widow or a Soldier on the attacking team. That's I think a better solution, and it will be the Fusion most likely going to be running some Widow themselves here, but instead it's going to be Carpe on the Hanzo, so still a sniper. BQO on the Roadhog, and they're going to rush this point. Poco on his signature Zarya.
Yeah, triple tank plus that Hanzo. So now, Fraggy moving forward to the Reinhardt shield. Valiant not wasting any time. They're getting in there, getting aggressive. They're going to get Carpe right away. Wow, that was a move I don't think Philadelphia was expecting right off the bat.
No, you don't expect that. Carpe going to swap now to the Widowmaker. See soon on that hero, wants to take the duel, but a surprising aggressive play. And
Ryan.
Charge.
Yeah, Fate taken out though. Poco right there. Helped keep Fraggy alive as well, and now Valiant push all the way back. That Reinhardt charging into the other Reinhardt, man, that's ended up being not so great for Valiant. They couldn't get the Zarya shield on the right person at the right time, and it looks like that's just going to be nearly point A until Valiant comes back in.
That's a nice play from Carpe.
Yeah, Graviton Surge though, they're going to pair it. with that Coalescence, and that's going to be a lot of kills coming up for the Philadelphia side. They've got the payload moving now.
And Poco catching everybody. Agility's not quite there with a Graviton Surge just yet at the end. Graviton Coalescence combination will end the Valiant. They were grouped up trying to contest the point. It was their last opportunity to hold them at point A. It will not be successful. And the Fusion will start moving it through streets. But Valiant is going to come back with a lot of ultimates.
Yeah.
And soon we'll be switching to the Junkrat.
EQO getting his mech back right now. Valiant pushing forward again. Now it's all about the Reinhardt mind games. Can Fraggy get that Earth Shatter down? Fate's got his as well. While who drops that shield at the right time? Or the wrong time, depending on how you look at it. Oh, the mind games won this time by Fate. He's going to counter Earth Shatter. Fraggy dashing back to try to get to his team again. Just keep swinging away. They've got Fate low health again. Valiant has to fall back. Can't rely on that Reinhardt. Now the self-destruct comes in and catches Agility. So Fusion, and despite not getting that big Earth Shatter, I think really playing that fight well.
Yeah, EQO showing off his versatility on the Diva also. Coming in, not a hero we associate with him, but it keeps Poco on the Zarya. He's back nearing another Graviton Surge right now.
It's going pretty well. Pretty charged up too, doing a lot of damage with that Zarya. Fate walking in, he's been solo health for so long. Graviton Surge against the wall, and they're gonna just charge Frankie right through it. Another Coalescence, pairing the ultimates again, and they are gonna push the Valiant way, way back. They take point B with ease, and they're already trying to spawn camp on C.
That's right, Neptuno, the one on the payload. Fraggy gonna be hiding with the Shatter. You have to check this corner. This is a trick. It's another trap.
Oh boy. Oh, here we go! That's a big three-man Earth Shatter. Fraggy coming through. They've got the sound barrier from Verbo, but they're gonna take Verbo for a ride to a place he doesn't want to go. He doesn't live. Neptuno gets the kill there. Valiant not losing as many people as I thought they would from that one, but their defense is a bit disheveled right now.
And they're going to be pushed back. This sound barrier invested by the Fusion, but they get no value out of it.
Now Reinhardt's falling, soon coming in with a lot of damage on this Junkrat, and that's going to be enough to cause Fusion to reset.
Wow, that was a great shatter from the Fusion. It forced out the sound barrier. And again, we've seen the Philly supports this match be a little quick, a little itchy on the trigger finger on those ultimates. Patience not there. They could have just backed off and pushed in with the sound barrier. And it didn't happen. So now they find themselves without a critical support ult one more time.
That's right. Agility, so he's got the ultimates. He's got that Graviton Surge ready to go. Boombox very close on the other side to his Coalescence. Valiant gonna charge in. Nearly DMEC Coco there. They've got the pushback. Yeah, there's a big kill on Neptuno. The Lucio down for the Fusion side, and that allows Valiant to save those ultimates and hold on for just a bit longer.
But look what the Fusion's doing, Doa. They've had two successful grab Coalescence combos. They also have a self-destruct. They also have a shatter. They're just banking ults for the big team wipe, and here we go.
That's all about that CC. The Graviton Surge comes in from Valiant. They're gonna be patient. Earth Shatter comes through as well. Counter Shatter. Oh, the big grab! What a combo from Philadelphia Fusion. That was about as one-sided as it gets. Talk about a team kill.
That was just getting the Valiant slapped right there. Agility's trying to make it back, but it's just not going to be enough. The cart cleanup is commencing.
GG, man. They got Faith in there at the very end, but the respawns, even with the tanks, might not be enough here. Valiant fighting it out. Another sound barrier comes in. Self-destruct for Valiant, pushing Fusion back, doing everything they can to stay alive, but that's going to be it. And a pretty fast time set by Fusion off of some pretty amazing combos there with the ultimates.
We can talk about the Fusion not optimally using some of their support ultimates, but the Valiant don't even look like they're counting ults on the other side. They're grouping up in situations where they are very vulnerable to these massive combos.
You know, and sometimes when you see Philadelphia playing this dive so much, you forget that Fraggy, you know, was known as this awesome Reinhardt before the dive meta kind of really evolved, and it's fun to get to see him bring that out again on maps like Kings Row.
He's certainly one of the top Reinhardts that we have in this league, especially when you play around him. He hates using that shield, loves creating space by walking forward and swinging with that hammer, and we saw the shatter straight into the splatter at the end of Kings Row.
No kidding. Well, it's been a while, too, since we've seen people really pairing that Coalescence with the Graviton Surge as an offensive combo, right? We see Coalescence used very effectively as a defensive tool to keep your tanks alive. It's a lot of healing coming out of that Moira ultimate, but it also, in certain situations, can do a ton of damage, too, if you've got everybody grouped up. So, cool seeing Philadelphia use it that way again.
Absolutely, and Philadelphia Fusion, will Poco stay on the Winston? Looks like he's going to be back onto the D.Va, so.
Okay.
Will be
25 seconds to get back.
Yeah, this will be a pick composition by the Fusion, trying to either land a hook or Carpe with a headshot. Carpe coming out of pretty extraordinary performance individually that he put up against the LA Gladiators on that Widowmaker.
Yep, a little bit of art on top of the bus from Neptuno. Leaving his mark, and now Valiant on the attack. 2 minutes and 57 seconds in the time bank for Philly. That's a pretty blazing time. Valiant has to have a great round to equalize.
All right, double snipers here. Agility's on the Hanzo, so twice the pressure over onto Carpe.
Yeah, that's right. And no Zarya shields on the Philadelphia Fusion side, too. So these snipers can end up getting a lot of damage done if you're not careful.
So Fraggy knows that he has more room, and the reason why is it's slow to break down his barrier with the Hanzo and with the Widowmaker.
That said, they do a lot of damage to just him without his barrier anyway. Agility's at the high ground, but Carpe right there, he's ready. They got Kariv as well. Now Soon trying to go to work on that Widowmaker, takes a chunk out of Carpe, but without the rest of his team, he has to back away. Maybe not quite fast enough. Ooh, barely gets out.
And the other problem with running the double snipers, though, is you just don't have as many bodies on the point itself.
Yeah.
So when the Philadelphia Fusion back themselves around the side of the hotel, Soon was playing behind the statue. And so he didn't have a sight line that allowed Carpe to take the 1v1 in snipers against Agilities.
And be fully charged. That's a lot of damage coming out of that Zarya right now. Soon, though. Oh, man. Poco finishes him off. Raggy taking some damage, able to back away. They've lost Soon, though, so that's so much less pressure and damage coming in from the Valiant side, and already getting a bit delayed here on A. Envy nearly paying for his peak with his life, but he'll live for now.
All right, so Dragon Blade coming, or Dragon Strike rather, coming up with the Graviton. This is the combo that has to work here for the Valiant.
Envy get it
circling, there it is.
All right, Dragon Strike comes through. Is it going to be enough damage? You bet it is. EQO and Fraggy brought low by the combo, and now on the point are the Valiant. Going to be very tough for Fusion to push him off of it.
Envy sticks the Graviton into the inside of the hotel to catch people on the outside of those walls.
Fusion going for it, though. They're committing the sound barrier to come back in. Earth Shadow right onto Poco, though. Nobody defending him here. Fraggy wades in. Fate has to be a bit careful. Philly not done yet. They're going to use their own sound barrier. So Fusion draining ultimates out of the team in green. And there's a nice hook. And Fusion, they're holding on, man. They might actually be able to turn this one around.
Agility's
oh boy
right now on the Genji, but EQO will push the members of the Valiant back, and this defense is going to hold.
Oh, Carpe killed both supports as well on the Valiant side, and Philadelphia Fusion really kind of pulling it out of the fire at the last second there.
They did with the self-destruct. They were able to stall out long enough. Great timing on the re-engage around the sound barrier, knowing where their allies were and that Fraggy was going to get back in the nick of time.
Yep. Really can't cut it any closer than that. Carpe, ooh, nearly gets a shot reflected into him. Yeah, a little bit scared there if you're the Widowmaker.
Yeah, Coalescence coming out right now just to push them back, and there's a hook.
Oh, that is really rough for Valiant to lose Fate like that, and now, yeah, you can just charge in. You might be able to finish off Envy. He gets Soon, and so those staggered kills making a big difference now that Valiant has less than a minute in their time bank.
And look how they're using the hook. So the Coalescence, if you're the Reinhardt, you will drop your shield because there's no point necessarily to having it up, and you need to retreat faster around that corner.
Sure.
And that is punished by the hook.
Oh, again, Fraggy, the sneakiest Reinhardt in the world. He gets bounced around a bit. Can't complete the charge, but they do complete the kills they need. That nano boost on a Fate, I don't think is going to get a whole lot for the Valiant here. He's still alive.
Yeah,
maybe they can do it.
Can just take a breather, though. Poco's zoning them out with a self-destruct there.
Oh, nice EQO pulls him right into the self-destruct for Poco. It's always fun to see. Valiant coming in. They've got the spawn advantage as the attackers, but another hook for Envy. Sleep Dart, though. Meanwhile, Agility's with the Dragon Blade out. Finishes Poco off, so Valiant with one last chance to take this one, but they're going to do it in overtime. This is where they thrive, and they've got the Graviton Surge.
The Moira's there, though, and that Shatter's not going to hit.
No, that's a blocked Earth Shatter, and now Fusion coming back with both support ultimates. Fate down yet again. Carpe trying to find a crucial pick, and there it is, Verbo, as he flies through the air, his headshot into oblivion.
Sleep Dart onto the top high ground Widowmaker position.
Well, a whole hog may just get a full hold for Fusion. It certainly will. Great defense from these guys, and they will take King's Row.
And here's a crazy stat for you, Doa. EQO on that full hold had a 73% hook accuracy. You saw he played the Road Dogg that entire time, but that was the cornerstone of the Philadelphia Fusion strategy. They were waiting for the commitment, and they were playing around the hooks. And when you start off on the double sniper, you can play that game for longer because you simply just have more absorption from your barriers because of the low DPS coming out of the Hanzo and the Widowmaker.
Oh, just a fantastic performance for Philadelphia. They're a map up. We'll see if Valiant can tie it up as we go to our escort map. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Pressure run, pressure run, pressure run. Ready, ready? No. Take go. No. First.
Kjør, grep. Kjør,
Get on.
Double line.
Let's go! Fine.
To det.
Don't go. 3 on point.
Okay. I'm holding the short. You guys stay point.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
focus up, guys. Focus up.
We have the best players, we have the best fans.
Going into game. Going to 3. On 3.
We wanted to make sure that all the best players in the world were in the league, regardless of where they're from. You're really starting to see everybody really wants to up their game.
It's been all about upping the game for the Philadelphia Fusion all stage. They made Kings Row look easy, man. And I don't know what it is about Fraggy, but I think Philadelphia, I mean, everyone on Valiant has to be checking like under their beds and then a closet sniper Fraggy, because he's been hiding like everywhere with that Reinhardt. Crazy shatters, and I love watching it, man. It's one of my favorite things to see.
It would be terrifying just to walk into a room and all of a sudden Fraggy's just like, you open your closet door and Fraggy's in there with a giant hammer knocking you over.
That's right. You look under your bed and he's like peering out at you, you know? Yep.
There you go. There's a free content idea for you. Philadelphia Fusion, make that video. Would be pretty funny.
That's right. You know, or you're living in your treehouse and you try to use the bathroom and then he says you can't. Oh, wait, that actually happened to Sideshow. Never mind. Oh, we saw Unko was subbed in for Verbo here, so Valiant making a bit of a swap at the support roles. We look ahead towards Gibraltar.
Yeah, and this is pretty clear what it means. They want to run Zen and Mercy at the same time because this is a map that has been defined in Stage 2 by its Widowmaker and Tracer combination play.
Yep.
That's it. What's interesting to me, though, Doa, is that this probably means that we are going to see Genji and the Widowmaker in combination on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion. Otherwise, we might have seen Snillo subbed in alongside Carpe like last week. Of course, EQO, he's shown us the Widowmaker as well, but he is not at the level of Widowmaker play that Carpe is. So it's unlikely that we're going to see him pull that out, I think, at least not the whole time.
Sure.
Maybe on defense.
And as far as Snillo goes, you know, as good as that player is, as good as we know he is, you know, in a big crucial match like that for Philadelphia, you probably want to stick to the roster that's had so much success this stage already. You know, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more Snillo in the future, but not shocked at all we're seeing what we're seeing today from the Fusion.
I mean, I don't know. They pulled it out in a critical match against the Gladiators, which they had to win to get here in the first place. So
I suppose.
It must have been more of a map thing when we have like Hollywood and then into Route 66.
Could be.
So Philadelphia Fusion, still waiting to see what they are going to settle on. It will actually be a dive composition for the Valiant soon. And agilities on the Tracer and Genji, respectively. Now, this means that they are going to have to be extra careful around the sight lines and probably play out of the server room.
That's right, Carpe over on the Widowmaker.
Poco going to be checking with an arrow right now.
Yep. That's right, gonna look for that Sonic arrow. There we go, EQO diving the hallway as well. Pushing Valiant back just a bit. Does Fusion go on the attack here?
So already controlling this high ground. If you're playing a dive defense, you can't be too aggressive about this position that we see EQ all on right here. You need to look for the opportunity as they're coming with the cart through the other side of the car wash to pick somebody off. And they're going to try and find that right now.
Yeah, that's right. Carpe gets low, but gets away for the moment here. Well, I said for the moment, so technically that was true. EQO, though, coming back in with a couple kills on the Philadelphia side. They're going to keep the payload moving for now.
And the problem is you can dive Carpe, but he's just going to get rezzed if you fail the dive, and they traded 2 for 1. So this is a disaster for the Valiant.
Yeah, he got back far enough. Neptuno to come in with the res. EQO with the big reflect there. Valiant still bottled up. Now they go for the dive here. EQO Dragon Blade got it ready to go. Unko down already. Somehow Frankie managed to find him in the back of that fight. And the Dragon Blade for EQO cuts down Kareem. Also protects Fraggy a little bit longer. But man, it's all about that Dragon Blade for Philadelphia.
And there's just no realistic way for Valiant to deal with this with the composition, Noah. The reason why is that you can't put pressure onto Carpe, who's standing in the server room, because you have to play the cart at the end with this comp, and you have to try and get the dive done. And unfortunately, they just end up trying to play the server room after stalling out the cart. They use their movement abilities to get back there, and they are doubled back on by the Fusion and cut down.
Damage boost for Carpe. Here and there from the Mercy, of course. Neptuno going to use that Valkyrie. As Valiant thinking about coming into attack, but Valiant just going to back away and say, hey, go ahead, float around for a little bit. Yeah, that's going to come on the point now as it's done. Oh, Kareem! Valkyrie denied on the Valiant side as Carpe hits a big headshot. They're going to use a Transcendence now. Have to back off and win this fight first, and they will. Philadelphia responding so well to this dive. They just back up, let it come into them, then they take advantage of everyone kind of being a little bit out of position again.
The mind games have been spectacular from Philly tonight, so they use it, and the Valiant are like, okay, go ahead, use that Valkyrie. But it's so transparent, they're gonna dive afterwards. That's when they hold the Transcendence in reserve, and Carpe just deletes Kareev out of the sky.
That's right. Well, speaking of Kareev getting deleted again, Fraggy comes in for another kill. EQO now with yet another Dragon Blade. Boombox down, Valiant diving again. EQO has to pull out the ultimate to try to keep this payload moving. Low health, and Fate's gonna get him anyway.
So Fate and Agility still there at the end. Poco once again a fadeaway kill. He doesn't get Agilities, and now he may be debacked.
I was so close, man. I mean, Agility's had like 5 health left or something like that.
Yeah, Poco's getting covered by Carpe, so it looks like he's gonna be able to make it out with enough defense matrix charge to get him out of harm's way, but that was a dicey situation after the Agilities kill did not come through.
Well, it's a battle in the spaceship. EQO gonna lose that one, it looks like. Soon found him, now Fate going down. Point B can get a bit messy with all the different levels of combat, for sure.
Yeah, Fate revived too. Fortunately, dying in a position where he was safe enough for the Mercy to find him.
Yeah, now Valiant just not giving Carpe any shot opportunities here, just kind of playing around the corner. Fusion has to come to them. They have to get to the payload. And Soon found TQO. That is big. Agility's Dragon Blade now nearly got the kill. Oh, he did enough damage anyway. The Soon Envy came in for the finishers on the supports. Carpe gets Agilities, but it's too late. They can't push off of this.
No, they can't. Kareev will just res him as well, making sure that they will have a full contingent of players to continue to defend this position. The Valiants have become entrenched on this high ground. They're having both support ults up for this next fight.
Yeah.
That's great for them as they need a pretty long hold after losing A so quickly.
It's a tough position to attack as the attacker. When the payload gets stopped here, it's a bit awkward. A lot of defensive places for Valiant to hide for the moment. Carpe, you can see it's really tough for him to get shots.
Yeah, they're just backed into that room right now.
They're gonna dive in with Fraggy, try to force him out into the open. Meanwhile, Soon manages to get behind Boombox. That's a bit of a problem. He's gonna use the Transcendence. They're pulling back again for the moment, and Valiant just kind of letting it happen. Oh, Soon had to recall, got really low, but he got back to his team.
And they're still sitting on Unko's Transcendence. So when the fight comes to them, they will be able to group up around the payload and try and go after Boombox right now.
Oh, that got eaten soon. His Pulse Bomb gobbled up. Meanwhile, the Dragon Blade again for EQO, trying to hunt down his Genji counterpart. Agilities can't quite live too long. Neptuno, meanwhile, keeping EQO nice and healthy, but the rest of the team suffering for that. Carpe and Boombox do go down.
And now it's only 1:15 remaining. Philadelphia Fusion, they use their ultimates. They've got nothing to enter into this next fight and very little time to build it back up. EQO trying to push in to get some ult charge back up as much as he can before the clock hits 0.
I mean, if you get stopped here as Fusion, you are suddenly getting really worried about Game 5, and that's Control. You do not want to go to Control for your final tiebreaker. If you're Philadelphia Fusion, they really need to come up big in a fight here. They have less than a minute. They got to do it now. Fusion pushing ahead.
Yeah, that's the Valkyrie out of the Valiant, though. Unko nearly there with another Transcendence, and Agilities has the cover with the Dragon Blade as soon as Unko gets his ult.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, Agilities. Unko takes out Carpe and Dragon Blade. Boombox right there, though. With a kill, but they need to turn this into a push. Now the dive from Valiant, forcing Fusion back even more. Boombox with the Transcendence. They got the Zen ults on both sides. There goes Kareev. EQO found him with a big Dragon Blade. Kareev couldn't get the res off in time, it looks like. No, he did bring Agilities up, actually. Frankie, though, gets Unko. EQO, 8 HP. Can we falls? That's right, but Philadelphia has a man advantage for the moment here. We're into OT. They gotta finish point B to get a bit more time in the time bank. Looks like they'll barely do it. Ooh, close call, but Philadelphia still alive on this attack for the moment.
And they're continuing to push forward. They need to make a lot of space right now. Valiant falling back to their spawn room. Arpe, the only member of the Fusion with an ultimate up right now. And Valiant had dumped everything into that engagement. So soon, onto the Widowmaker. Same with EQO. So we'll be Widow Tracer for the Fusion. Widow Genji for the Valiant.
Well, they find Fate a little bit on his own here. Envy there to protect the retreat for the Winston. But there's a stick onto Envy. Very low, he does get demeched. And so now, oh, both tanks down. Valiant starting to fall apart a little bit here.
Yeah, they may have gone a little bit too deep. EQO gonna cut down Envy and Agilities, who got separated from the rest of his team. 3 members of the Valiant are up. They will be able to contest before this payload reaches point C. Fraggy revived now. And soon,
there we go, shot.
And there's no resurrection now to use onto EQO.
No, and soon taking advantage of that in a big way. Gets Carpe as well. Boombox barely gets out of sight just in time, and now 15 seconds for Fusion. They're gonna have to scramble to get even back to the point, and they're gonna have to do it without Fraggy.
That's gonna be a big problem for them soon with the critical kills. To prevent this attack, Neptuno will get the revive onto Fraggy, but that's the only one they've got.
Now Poco gets there just in time. We're in overtime. Agilities wants to shut this down right now with the Dragon Blade. Reflect puts up there. Carpe trying to shoot him out of the sky, but EQO gets a kill on Soon. While Agilities, again, still in the back lines. He's kind of on his own here, just trying to keep people from getting to the payload. Fate Primal Raging doing a big part in keeping Philadelphia zoned out as well. And meanwhile, Carpe just staying there. He's moving it forward. He actually got some extra distance, and that's going to let Fraggy get back in there with the Primal Rage. It's all about buying time. How in the world did he avoid that self-destruct? Oh, he nearly jumped off again. That's going to be about it. Fraggy with a heroic effort at the end. And I gotta say, Philly ended up pushing that a lot farther than I thought they were going to be able to, but Valiant stopped them on point C anyway.
Yeah, Valiant, though, they got the time thanks to their strong hold on point B. It was all rolling for the Fusion, but soon here with some brilliant shots to end the defense. Ooh, especially that one. What a great flick onto Carpe, who is making a beeline straight towards him.
It's not easy to hit a Tracer like that. Soon, though, making it work. So, Fusion with maybe not so scary or not as scary of a defense as they thought they were going to maybe force when they were about to be stopped on point B, but still a big opportunity here for LA Valiant to just take the map right here and force that tiebreaker. And, you know, if you think back to how Nepal went, that was a 2-0 for Valiant. If we're going to go to another tiebreaker on Control here, I think you got to be feeling pretty good if you're the green and gold.
Yeah, it just depends on the map, though, and because of it's going to be Ilios, and we could see, of course, the Widowmaker from Carpe come out, and some of those points on Ilios are more viable for dive. I think it's tough for Nepal because they can't play dive as effectively on Village and Shrine.
That's a good point.
And they seem unwilling to go for strategies like having a Pharah in, or like having the Soldier Tracer combination that I think are better for those points. So I think Fusion does stand a better chance on Ilios than Nepal, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Traditionally, Control has not been great for them. Philadelphia Fusion, though, can avoid it completely as long as they hold Valiant to less distance than they achieved on their attack. So they're going to try to do. Kariv on that Pharah for the moment.
Interesting that they want to run the dive. They have run the dive on point A before switching into
I was gonna say,
Tracer Widow for point B and C.
I mean, this isn't one of my solo queue games. I don't think we're going to see any solo Zen healing here. Yeah, Kariv back on the Mercy just as the Valiant attack begins.
Yep, so we'll see if the Fusion can show a better instance of how to play this dive defense, as opposed to the look that we got from the Valiant. You can see that was just a little bit of a scout there from EQO, using that reflect to make sure he knows how many people are on the high ground. It is everyone but Envy.
Yep. Get a glimpse of things without exposing yourself to damage there. Philadelphia Fusion defending in the server room, trying to stay out of sight of Soon's Widowmaker.
Yeah, this is where you defend it.
Oh, EQO! No reflect there. They try to dive him, but it's too late. You lost your Genji. That's going to be tough for Fusion now. And now you lose your Tracer soon. Popping up in a big way on this Widowmaker.
All right, well, Soon's just going to kill all of the DPS. It won't be a problem for the Valiant to conclude this attack. Now they can simply charge into server.
Yeah, no damage really. Agility's.
That's a damage booster, an enemy.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Zenyatta.
It's not good, but I like it.
He's gonna try and get back to the point right now with the Transcendence.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's gonna try to rejoin his team at least, but he's still getting chased here. There's a Primal Rage. They really want to punish this. They're still gonna get point A pretty soon, I think.
Well, is Poco
Oh,
going to
got
commit to
contested,
self-destruct?
actually.
No. Okay, so they're not going to actually fight this out. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the self-destruct would have been used.
I'm just trying to eat him some time off of the time bank, I suppose.
And Neptuno still going to be on the opposite side right now. He's trying to fight with agility. He
this
is
is just
caught.
sad. Oh, EQO right there. All right.
EQO is just going to help him win the fight.
He's going to shoot from across the map, and Neptuno finally goes down. Envy has to step in and finish it. They lose Fate, though, too, so Fusion actually now, through that, somehow gets a good defensive position, although they're going to wish they had their Zenyatta.
Soon is just having a hell of a map so far. Doa,
Sure
19 eliminations, and of those, 16 are final blows. The shots he's been landing.
Pretty sick. Carpe pulse bombs agilities. That's right. Soon down. All right. The pressure coming in from Fusion. There's the Primal Rage from Fraggy. They've managed to buy a lot of time already by keeping Valiant kind of stopped at their spawn, and they're going to continue to keep them there.
Yeah, I like how they took the reset instead, playing around the choke points and retaking the high ground. We saw this from the Valiant in spite of the quick point A loss. Fusion attempting to duplicate the Valiant success.
Yeah.
LA coming in with a Transcendence and nearly the Valkyrie as well. So a chance to simply out-heal and push through the defenses of the Fusion.
And this point always ends up so chaotic too, because you've got kind of 3 separate levels that the action takes place on, and you never know when the Genji's going to come in with the Dragon Blade, but luckily they've got the Transcendence right there, and this Nano Boost not going to be used too much. Both Genjis going in with their blades, neither one finding a kill, but Agilities is behind enemy lines. Looks like he's going to get out anyway. Boombox down. All right, good start for Valiant here on the attack.
Agilities and Envy and Fate teaming up for the support.
Whoa, and that's going to be Valiant crushing this defensive effort from Philadelphia Fusion.
They came back in with the Valkyrie, got control of the high ground. There are low mobility supports in Zenyatta and Ana on the side of the Fusion, so Agilities and Envy see them vulnerable. They are going to get another chance to defend this. No, they are not.
All right, Soon tried to go for another stick, did some damage with the pulse bomb. They get Neptuno already. That Ana not living too long in these fights for Philadelphia Fusion. And now we're on to point C. Valiant pushing towards the end of this map potentially with 4 minutes in the time bank. They have got a ton of room to work with on this final attack.
They do, Doa. EQO wants to play the Tracer now. They've swapped the roles. Carpe onto the Widowmaker.
Okay.
So it's desperation territory. Soon comes out on a Widowmaker of his own. LA is going to have a large ult advantage in just a few seconds.
Hey, well, this is the position that Carpe's excelled so well in throughout this stage. He needs to come up big in the Widow v Widow. He needs to make those picks. They've still got 3.5 minutes to defend this.
It's a huge opportunity for the Valiant right now. They're going to go
down.
in.
There goes Neptuno, though. Agilities finds another one on the Dragon Blade. Boombox with the Transcendence. Agilities trying to take advantage. After it ends, they do. Philadelphia in a lot of trouble here. That payload not moving at the moment, but the fight being won by Valiant in a big way.
Carpe's still up though, and Poco on the point. He's trying to contest Soon right now. We'll be able to harass him in the back, and the self-destruct will mean that he probably gets remeked rather, he will.
I mean, he got Soon actually with that. Fate back to the payload now with about half of his health remaining. Primal Rage nearly over. He dodges a pulse bomb too, so.
Oh man, that's a heartbreaker for the Valiant because they committed all of their resources except for the Trance, but the counter dive from the Fusion, they knew they had to kill the supports quickly. They nano boosted Fraggy, and he was able to get to Unko when Unko was at 95% of a Transcendence, so exploiting a narrow timing window, and that threw off the Valiant's attack.
Still, nearly 2.5 minutes for Valiant, but losing Envy's mech is gonna hurt. There goes Agility's Fraggy with that Primal Rage. They're just gonna buy more time. There goes Soon. And now they've got a nice delay here. Kareev a little bit staggered from the rest of his team, and Valiant suddenly 2 minutes remaining. We talked about how clutch this team is when it really comes down to it. This is probably more than usual a time where you really need to dig deep if you're Valiant and come out with a big win here.
I mean, they still do have time though. Remember that with the 2 minutes, they can stack up a huge ult bank. They can play a war of attrition right here against the Fusion if they want to by forcing their ults and just using nothing on their side.
Well, that's the hope, but EQO sneaking around, trying to come in from behind here, gets seen, doesn't want to throw that ult into the defensive matrix. Soon gets a kill on the Carpe too, that's a big 1v1. Now Agility's with the Dragon Blade again. Oh, Transcendence keeping Neptuno alive for the moment. He gets Carpe back up. They pair the ultimates to keep the Mercy alive. EQO turns around, Pulse Bomb on the wall, not going to find anyone with that one.
2 meters, 1.5 meters, Noah.
It's so close. Philadelphia Fusion needs a big win right here, and I don't know if they're going to get it. EQO falling. Fusion back on the payload right now. Soon, though, nobody's able to touch him unless a snipe comes in from Carpe.
Carpe's gonna get Karif, so one healer down, but Neptuno will also fall.
Yep, Frankie caught by that self-destruct. LA Valiant, they have the momentum now. Oh, but Transcendence sets up the shot for Carpe. Philadelphia trying to push it back again, but now that the Zen ultimate is done, I don't know if they can hold this one. Agility's low health, can't stay alive. Still under 2 meters to go for Valiant, but Philadelphia, they've got the spawn advantage and they are pushing back.
Carpe taking out Soon was the big difference maker. The Infrasight came up and he didn't contest the cart, he contested Soon. They had to deal with him because he was free firing onto the payload and they hit the pick that really mattered.
It was a 2-man effort to bring him back too. You had Neptuno using the res, you had Boombox using the Transcendence to keep him alive during that extended sort of cast time, and that may be what it takes for Fusion to win this one, but they've got to fight this last fight.
Time for Agilities to be a hero with this blade.
Absolutely, man. Earn your place. Here we go. Boombox down. It's a big start. They get EQO as well. Soon right there to help him out. And it's a team effort as Valiant pushes forward. They've got the Transcendence, and they will take the map. We are going to the tiebreaker.
That we are, Doa. The overtime, the big difference maker once again. Valiant pull the rabbit out of the hat.
How do they do it? This team, I swear if the entire map was played in overtime, they go 4-0 every match.
It seems like it, doesn't it, Noah? They certainly have a spectacular clutch factor about them, and they can play the upset here. They can play the spoiler against the Fusion.
I mean, we saw them do the same thing against Seoul at the end of stage 1. Kind of making Seoul's playoff hopes fade away, and they're about to make it much tougher for Philadelphia to get themselves in that same position. What a series this has been, and what a conclusion I've got a feeling we'll see, guys. Don't go anywhere. Map 5 coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Omened by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. And by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, guys. We are going to game number 5 between Philadelphia Fusion and LA Valiant. I knew the series was going to be sick, but I didn't know it was going to be so sick.
It's been really exciting.
Man, like, we're going to Ilios, all right? We know that Philadelphia has trouble on control maps, and while you raise some good points about why Ilios may not be as tough for this team as Nepal was, you still got to be worried if you're Philadelphia.
Yeah, and we are going to see a substitution as well. That is Verbo. He is playing in this game instead of Agilities. So this means that Kariv is going to be moving over to the DPS role. And I think this makes sense on Ilios because what they're probably thinking is that if they go to Ruins, they want to run their best Widow Tracer combination, which is Kariv on Widowmaker and Soon over on the Tracer.
Very true.
If you play other points, Kariv is still going to be capable of playing the Pharah, for example, or the Soldier 76. So I think this gives you a really good mix of DPS heroes to use on Ilios especially, and we'll have to see what the answer is going to be, especially considering it is going to be Ruins first.
Well, this is just some of that cool versatility that you get to see out of the LA Valiant, and although I was about to say, although it's unlikely they're making the playoffs this season, it's something to look forward to in the later stages. But if they win this one, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed. And the Fusion, even if they win now, they only give themselves an additional +1 map bit differential, which means that the Gladiators do have a very real opportunity to make the playoffs ahead of the Fusion. So I'm sure Los Angeles fans would be delighted with that result. Get an upset here for one of the LA teams, open the door for the other LA teams to make it to the stage playoffs.
This is one of those times where LA fans, whether you're Gladiators fans or Valiant fans, you can all join together and hope that the Valiant take this map, because it's good either way for either team. And here we go. We're starting things off on Ruins, and it will be that Tracer Widow combo that you talked about. Kariv on the Widowmaker, Soon on the Tracer for Valiant. Meanwhile, on the other side, Carpe, of course, grabbing the sniper for the Fusion.
Yeah, this is probably the worst point for the Fusion to start first, and the best point for the Valiant. So Valiant would love to take Ruins home and make their lives a lot easier for the rest of Ilios.
You can't take Ruins home, Monty. Those are priceless artifacts. You have to leave them where they are.
I'm sorry, the British disagree with you.
Oh, I suppose it's true. Oh, Soon down. Poco finds him with that damage. They lose Fraggy, though. Nice res on the Soon. Oh, and there it is. Carpe sniped by Kariv as he flies through the air. Now he's got to deal with that Tracer, get some healing at just the right time, and the Pulse Bomb comes in onto Verbo, and it looks like Fusion is going to get that control percent going first.
Hey, Kariv hit the shots. Look how fast he got that infra sight, but the rest of his team was fading away, but with a kill onto EQO. Okay, the equalizer there.
Calm
so
down.
Neptuno, I was really scared for a second, but Neptuno managed to make his way up to Kariv and get him with the boop. That hadn't happened, the Valiant could have charged straight back into the point.
Kariv gets rezzed as well. Valiant moving their way back onto the point right now, trying to flip it. And beyond there, they're saying, hey, Philadelphia, you have to come to us to keep us from taking this point. That's exactly what Philly's going to do. Envy going to get D-Mech. He is indeed. And that's going to be a bit scary. Poco getting a bit low himself. Both teams out of the mech, but it's going to be the self-destruct for Poco. Carpe, meanwhile, up on that high ground soon, just trying to be annoying with that Tracer. 40% already for Philadelphia Fusion, and there goes Boombox. Soon finds him on the side of the fight. Verbo taken out by Fraggy, and so far so good for Fusion here. They've managed to hold it, unless Soon can flip this one by himself.
And it's just the tanks right now. Primal Rage going to be used to buy time, but they haven't had an answer. The Valiant have had EQO and Fraggy in their backline harassing the supports, Unko and Verbo. They're dying, they're cutting off the healing, and then Philly can grind through the rest with a higher amount of healing on their side. So they need to figure out how to protect their supports better. Fate and Envy are playing the point, but they need to be able to react to the dives coming in from the Fusion.
Yeah. Carpe so far certainly been winning the sniper battle, which is exactly why you brought Kariv in here. Like, Valiant needs Kariv to be the one who's winning that sniper battle.
They absolutely do. So, Pulse Bomb going to go down. Doesn't actually find a target, and now
soon.
Neptuno is in the back line, actually trying to kill Unko, but will get killed instead.
Yeah, meanwhile, Pulse Bomb goes on to Envy. Very low, gets demeched. Unko coming out with the big frag on the Poco as well. Carpe fighting for his life here in the room, but manages to push the Tracer back a bit. And Valiant will flip the point, finally getting some percent building, but Philadelphia already at 99%. So if you're Philly, you're like, all right, we've got time to build up those ultimates, come back big.
Yeah, Neptuno, though, with some bizarre positioning. He was trying to attack the other supports in the back line and ended up losing the battle. And speaking of losing battles, that's a damage-boosted Kariv.
Talk about threading the needle there, too. You don't even see the Widowmaker through that.
And that's gonna require a taxi service, courtesy of Neptuno, as he goes back to bring EQO into the engagement. Now in for sight for the Fusion. They want that pick.
And for sight on the side of the Valiant as well. Everybody knowing where the players on the other teams are. Fate down early. EQO finishing that one off. Sound Barrier, though, comes in from Fusion. They want to use this 6v5 to take the point back for themselves. Fate does get res. 6v6 again. No, it's actually still 6v5. Scarpe got the Widow v Widow. Now soon, looking for the Tracer v Widow. Gonna turn around. Back onto EQO instead. EQO trying to stay alive at NB right there to cut him off with the pass. Meanwhile, though, Valiant still building that percentage up.
Neptuno was in the back line again. So even though he's playing the Lucio, he dropped the beat and ran back there with Fraggy, but they couldn't actually kill Verbo or Unko. And instead, they deny any kind of AoE healing on the point for the rest of the teammates. Neptuno is playing ridiculously aggressive.
We know this guy's a pretty aggro support player in general, but yeah, there is such a thing as too much. And for me to say that means a lot. Kariv gets EQO.
And that's not the place where a Resurrection can come through.
Not really, 95% for Valiant. They've got Boombox as well. Carpe finishes Kariv, but it doesn't matter. You can't take the point as Widowmaker. We're into overtime, 99-99, but Valiant a little bit ahead of this one. Self-destructed, there's Neptuno on his own again. Can't keep the point going. EQO gonna delay as long as possible, but that's all he can do, and no one else can get there. That's going to be Valiant coming back from 99-0 to take Bruins.
And that's the point you really wanted them to win if you're a Valiant fan.
Yeah.
I think they had some nice advantages, so 1 point remaining for a massive upset. This is how the Valiant closed out stage 1. They can close out stage 2 in the same fashion and toss the Fusion into a difficult situation. Not impossible for them to make the stage playoffs, but certainly significantly less likely.
Absolutely. Crucial round for both teams here. A win on Well would win the match for Valiant. Fusion, if they can take this round, they'll take us all the way to the 3rd stage here on Ilios. It's going to be Kariv on the Pharah again.
And this is what Kariv can bring that Agilities doesn't. This is why he's playing DPS on Ilios, because he can play the Pharah and he can play the Widow. It's back to dive for the Philadelphia Fusion. This point will favor the dive more than many on DePaul, but it's not going to favor Verbo staying alive, apparently, as Poco cuts him down on the opposite side of the point.
He'll drop early. Valiant trying to just control the spacer on the point right now. Fusion, though, the ones who nearly have it captured already. Somebody's got to deal with Kariv here. Fate down, that's not going to help the Valiant. Philadelphia nearly have this one. They lose Fraggy as well. No wins on either side right now. Carpe battling it out. Remember, they can't really use Safara to take the point. It only does damage. Poco gets him.
And there's plenty of buildings for the dive composition to hide behind. Verbo taking out EQO. They'll may swing this back in the Valiant's favor.
We'll see. I mean, because it is going to be Fusion capturing the point first. They'll get some control percent building. Valiant can try to come back and retake it. Obviously, I think that's what they're planning on doing.
Yeah, Poco had to use the self-destruct, waiting to remech there. And so now 1 tool fewer available to the Philadelphia Fusion.
A lot of damage onto Envy with that Pulse Bomb, but no finishing blow from Fusion. They're still going to hold the point for the moment. Valiant just regrouping a bit. They're going to have a lot of ultimates soon. That's Unko using the Percy ultimate. For some reason, the Valkyrie escaping my mind out. Now Sound Barrier for Fusion as they try to hold this one. They do get Fate. It's a good start for Fusion as there's a boop on Envy. got taken out, and so they will hold, but crucially for Valiant, they only use that Valkyrie on the attack.
And now they're focusing down Karib. EQO switches to McCree, and Boombox is providing him the Orb of Discord onto the Pharah. So they've identified this as a central problem. They're starting to play for some zones around the point right now. Fate gonna leap in to the high ground opposite EQO and set up a long flank that way.
Yeah, I mean, and Karib can just stay far enough back that it's hard for the McCree to do damage to the Pharah. That damage fall off at distance. Tough for the McCree to handle sometimes.
All right, Primal Rage was just forced out of Fraggy, so now it's go time.
Oh, great flashbang on Fate as he came in. He had ultimate, but he didn't get a chance to use it.
And that's the clutch factor right there.
Yep.
Coming in and attempting to get the Primal Rage off, instead ends in disaster.
Well, great focus fire by Fusion as Fate jumped in. But again, Valiant didn't use any ultimates in all of that. They can still come in and use a lot to flip the point, but it's 92% already. Karib, he's gonna swap, going over to the McCree himself.
Yeah, it's a McCree and Zenyatta switch right now for the Valiant.
That's right, overtime, ticking away, they gotta get there. Valiant needs to keep this one alive. Pulse Bomb gets eaten for Soon, nothing out of that one. Valiant needs more. They use the sound barrier to stay alive. Poco with the self-destruct to zone them out again for just a second. Soon trapped in that room, has to get out again. Valiant trying desperately to flip this one. Transcendence so for Boombox as Philadelphia storms back in again. An EQO with the headshot onto Soon. Here's the Deadeye and he finds Burbo with it. Philadelphia Fusion not done quite yet. We are going to round 3.
At this point, Doa, this might be difficult for the Valiant. This is probably the point that suits them the least and is going to be the best for the Fusion dive. Great control from the Fusion at the end, though. You saw the Valiant attempting to attack, but Fusion played far back on the point. And when the Valiant sound barrier came in, they blocked the choke with a self-destruct, waited for the sound barrier to melt away, and then re-engaged.
Yeah. You just can't say enough about EQO's McCree as well. And you see McCree pop up as an answer to the Tracer, sometimes an answer to the possible Sombra, but he knew that Valiant liked to just throw Fate in there and let him Primal Rage. Saved it, got that great stun on the Winston, and man, that really came up big for the Fusion. And here we go. The winner of this round wins the match with big playoff implications for both of these teams here.
And Karib back on the Pharah again. So we'll wait and see if the Fusion want to play the McCree one more time. The Pharah has to play closer to this point than they do onto Well. So there's more opportunities for the Genji to get in the sky and contest the Pharah.
That's right. Point unlocks right now. And the kills come in. Verbo and Carpe both down here. Carpe taking out Verbo before he going down himself. Poco just trying to push Valiant back. His Fusion will grab the point first. Get their control percent building.
And Pharah still trying to zone Poco out. Does get the D-Mech. Carpe and Fraggy nearly back into this engagement.
That's right. Soon gets Poco. And that's going to be Valiant trying to take advantage of it by coming in and attempting to flip. EQO right there, can try to delay as long as he can. Charge down now for Envy. They can take advantage of that. Karib, though, with the Pharah. Yeah, EQO and Carpe gets both DPS. And Valiant looks like they might be able to flip this here, but wow, what a delay for Fusion already. Boombox finally falls. Great delay, 30% for Fusion before Valiant take it.
And Poco just couldn't get there to stagger it longer. Instead, nosedives off the point to reset. So 30% for the Fusion, not bad. But Karib damage boosted. That's what happens when you get hit by a damage boosted rocket and you are a Tracer.
That's rough,
That's
man.
an instant, if it body shots you, it is instant death.
Carpe on that Tracer, not a lot of HP to work with. You want to avoid those rockets if possible. Not something you can count on with Karib, but it certainly does help. Boombox with the kill on Verbo, though, so a big pick as Fusion comes in. There's a barrage. Karib has to turn around as they fly at him. It's not enough. Poco with the kill anyway. And now EQO trying to go to work on this McCree. They get the res onto Karib, though, from Unco, and EQO, the one who tries to deal with that Envy. How in the world did he get 3 with that self-destruct? A couple kills in the D-Mech onto Poco. I got to see that one again.
Yeah, the Fusion just falling apart. They got the first pick off. It should have been a walk in the park for them, especially after Kariv dies too, and they commit the Transcendence. But somehow they can't get onto Kariv while he's being resurrected.
Wow. He just used it.
He got booped up.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Nice, I believe that was a nice concussion grenade by Kariv, too. Oh, Fate as well?
Yeah, it looked like Fate was also potentially coming in. It was hard to tell what was flying in on the side of the screen, but something knocked them in. And that was good teamwork on the side of the Valiant.
You can't roll to drop that one, EQO, man. Doesn't work like that. Poco, though, getting the kill onto Unko. Pretty good. Kariv backs away, doesn't have his mercy to keep healing him. And now Fusion will nearly flip this one back. There they go. So 89% for Valiant before Fusion finally pushed them off of it again. Looks like we're going to go down to the wire on this round as well.
Yes, we are. However, Verbo still has that sound barrier. Philly, maybe they could get a Deadeye. Carpe might be able to work some magic with a Pulse Bomb, but Valiant should feel confident coming into this next attack.
It's the plan. EQO very close to the Deadeye as well. And man, if you can get the Deadeye onto the Fire Mercy combo out in the open, there's nothing they can do to avoid that. And they know it. Yep, they're going to dive this McCree. Flashbang comes in, got eaten, I believe. But Fate getting eaten up by some bullets as well. Kariv firing into the hallway, keeping Fusion pushed back, and that's going to let Valiant flip it. They've got control. Can they keep it? There's a Deadeye.
Mercy!
Oh, no kills on that one. EQO rolling away, barely kept alive by the Transcendence from Boombox. Oh, but he goes down. Boombox, or Kariv rather, found him with the rocket. Fusion, though, still in the middle of all this, flipping the point back again. Soon trying desperately to keep it on the Valiant side, but he can't. 99% for the Valiant, and now Fusion holding it themselves, 70%. We are so close to 99.99. Soon comes in.
Barrier is denied!
Oh,
denied
no!
by Verbo. He killed him during the animation.
And that could be devastating. Can Valiant do anything to take this one back again? Oh, I don't know. 85% for Fusion, coming down to the wire soon. Being a thorn in their side, or at least a flank on this fight anyway.
And it's just an all-out brawl.
Oh, he's down!
Boombox back in on the Moira. Everybody flooding to the point.
98-99. Overtime, Fusion controls it. Can they keep Valiant away? The match on the line right now. And Fate and Verbo down. They need more people to take this one.
Reed is going to have to drop into the point, and he's going to get picked off.
He can't do it. The Primal Rage comes in. Fate down. And that's going to be another self-destruct for Envy. Catching anybody with that? He gets back into the map, immediately pulse bombed. Can anyone from Valiant get there? Doesn't look like it. Overtime ticking, and that will be it. Fusion will pull it off at the very end.
What a wild end to the match, though, Doa.
What a series.
An all-out brawl on Lighthouse to conclude things. The Philadelphia Fusion do themselves a favor by winning the match, keeping them in playoff contention, but now they must wait for tomorrow to see if they will take that third place.
Yeah, but they came in, they needed a win. They wanted a much better win than they ended up getting, but hey, a win is a win, and what an effort by the Valiant too, man. They took it down to the wire, and I think we saw a lot of good stuff out of this squad today.
Yeah, definitely. Valiant, they are a bit unpredictable. They haven't been the most consistent roster, but they can play good teams close.
I feel like, again, you can't say enough about EQO and what he's now bringing to this team. That McCree, so crucial on so many big moments on Ilios as well. Just a lot to look forward to as the stages progress for these guys.
Absolute blast of a match here.
That's right, and Zoe has Fraggy for a post-match interview down the floor. Let's hear what he's got to say about that win.
Thank you so much, guys. Please give it up for the Fusion and Fraggy. You guys did it. You guys did it, but what a clutch match. Why was it so close in the end?
I think Nepal is like a pretty big map for us, so we lost that one. Gibraltar, we probably were a bit weaker than usual. We should have probably won that, but I don't know, it happens.
It happens. That's correct. Things happen on each of those maps. Now, if we're looking back at stage 2, how has it been like for you guys? What was the big takeaway for the Fusion?
We had some trouble during the weeks. We had the Korean opponents. I think Boom was sick for one match. Ego was sick for one match, so it was pretty tough. but we managed to come back in the later weeks and been pretty good.
All right. Now, there is still a tiny little chance that you could make it to the playoffs. But in case you don't now, won't be getting to talk to you again. Is there anything you want to say to the fans who have been coming here into the arena and have been watching at home?
I mean, thanks for all the support. Really appreciate it. And we'll keep on grinding and getting better.
All right, we can't wait to see more of you guys. Thank you so much, Fraggy. Once again, congratulations. We're now heading over to the desk to break down the game.
Thank you so much, Sully. Let's hear it one more time for the Philadelphia Fusion. Tons of pressure, and they walk away with the victory. Unlike Seoul, though, or just like Seoul, not the clean sweep they were hoping for. So let's revisit why it didn't go that way. But I want to take us all the way back to Kings Row. We got 3 games to cover. We got Crumbs reinforced. Let's start here with the Philly defense.
Well, we are going to
Nepal.
Flashback
Flashback,
right
baby.
into Nepal here for us.
We're just showing you Carpe. He was warming up on Nepal, right? Warming up a little bit, getting ready for Kings Row.
Yes, he was. But then it was Fraggy who popped up on Kings Row because it was Kings Row, obviously. It's a Reinhardt map. I appreciated it. And Fraggy came out with a bang. So we can see if we can get those highlights going, of course, because he was absolutely dominating. We saw so many good Earth Shatters coming out, of course, from Fraggy. And Poco as well. He turned up on the Zarya, ridiculously good on the Diva and the Zarya, of course, throughout the series.
He actually didn't even play the Zarya for Kings Row, which I thought was very interesting. It was EQO that was playing
Right,
this.
the Diva.
Yeah, it was so when we look at Philly, now we know that
Shatter, dude. Oh, that was so
Shatter
good.
into grab. You gotta love it. They were able to just snowball so well off this composition when they get steam rolling. But now we learned that when Philly wants to play Zarya and Diva, you're likely gonna have Zarya going to Poco and the Diva to EQO.
Johnny,
So
how
it's a little
impressive
scouting.
is that to see your tank so flexible from Poco and also EQO filling in on the Diva?
Yeah, it's nice, right? Because EQO, we talked about him being a very flexible player. He swapped to the Roadhog. He only had
73%, 8 out of 11 hooks.
Exactly, 8 out of 11 hooks on the Roadhog. And then you see his McCree play, the Widowmaker, the Tracer, the Genji. EQO, such a solid performer. And then you have Poco and Fraggy on the Reinhardt, of course, because those two were coming into the league hailed as 2 of the best Western players on the Zarya and on the Reinhardt. So just being able to put EQO on the Diva and the Roadhog, and Poco and Fraggy can do their own thing. That's such a big boon for the Philadelphia.
And there was actually one of my favorite moments in the map that we didn't get to see was when he was playing the Diva, and he actually was able to eat the Graviton Surge. So the Valiant is trying to set up a grab and bomb combos. You see Envy and Agilities have it, but you hear the sound cue, and then it just completely vanishes. The plans for the Valiant are completely thwarted, and then the icing on the cake hits the bomb, takes down Agility.
Yeah, not only do you eat the grab, you kill the guy with your ult.
Oh, man, that hurts.
Fantastic punish. So now we have Philly on match point. They don't get it. Let's go to game 4 and show you why they didn't. Both sides were looking pretty decent on the attack at moments. For me, though, it's all about the snipers to watch in this game. What were you guys keeping your eye on?
It was, for sure. Carpe, he started off pretty rough, I think, on the offense. He found a few picks. This shot was absolutely ridiculous. But then it sort of it slowed down a bit, and Carpe couldn't really find those picks. So 4 minutes in the hangar phase to waste for the Philadelphia Fusion. Then they get stalled out on point C. Much credit to Soon for turning up on this Widowmaker, of course, throughout the rest of Gibraltar, and in the end, it carried on to map 5.
He couldn't find those because Soon was playing one of the craziest Widowmaker games. I think it was 19 limbs, 16 final blows. That's 16 kills for the Widowmaker by herself, which is just outrageous. It was one of the craziest Gibraltar performances we have yet to see.
I have to ask, though, because it looked like Philly was going to hold strong at the very end. It was overtime when the Valiant captured that 3rd point and won the game. What happened there? Because Monty touched on it. They have 2 minutes. They can get all their ults. They got all their ults, they used their ults, and it was just a skirmish all the way to the end. Was there a play in there that you saw, Johnny?
It was pretty much a skirmish, right? And I think we saw Transcendence come out for Fusion, of course. So you have a bit more stall, and when you stall out the payload for 10 to 15 seconds, of course, Carpe, he just comes out clutch on the Widowmaker. But in the end, it was the Valiant who came out with the map 4 win, of course, and we were forced to map 5.
Constantly flooding the point. That sets up game number 5. You just saw it. It's Ilios here, the best moments one more time. Back and forth this went, but it was a one-sided affair to open things up on Runes.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure at all who was going to win this, because going into this map 5, Philadelphia were 5-1 in game 5s, okay? They're great at these map deciding series, of course. And then the Valiant, they're 5-1 on Ilios throughout the Overwatch League. So 2 top teams going at each other on Ilios, of course, and it was back and forth all the way.
And I think the adaptation that I love to see is finally, Phila is up against Afara in control, and they bust out the McCree. No more Genji Tracer. You get the McCree, you threaten this guys, and you're forced to swap off. And I think that made a big difference to the Valiant's plans. We've seen what happens when the Afara is uncontested with a Mercy. You one-shot Tracer. We saw it actually happen.
It was incredible. EQO, is there anything this man can't do? Ridiculous hook percentage. His McCree, I'll take it any day of the week. After the victory, here's how the standings currently are sitting. We got Philadelphia jumping into the top 3. I know there's some Philly fans out there.
Oh, but the
bad news is that map count. Yes, Johnny. Just a 2 map advantage. What does that mean for the Gladiators? If you want to be playing on Sunday, if you want to compete for that 125 grand, tomorrow you have to win by 3 maps. That means it has to be either a 3-0 or a 4-0. A 3-1, a 3-2 doesn't get the job done.
But it's up against Boston, though. That is a tall order. Boston's
Dreamcaster,
looking good.
Striker,
right?
Gamsu.
To 4-0,
Tough opponent, man.
This week has been absolutely crazy, and before we leave this match, we have to crown our Player of the Match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Who is it going to be from the Fusion today? Carpe? I don't think so. We're going with the Diva. Poco takes
Exactly,
off.
Poco. Now, he doesn't make the fanciest plays, right? We saw EQO go off, we've seen Carpe go off. We always talk about the DPS of the Philadelphia Fusion, of course, but Poco actually had a standout performance on both Zarya and Diva. Statistically, Poco had a world-class performance on these 2 heroes, so he definitely deserves player of the match.
And our stats wizard made a great point. They said, look at the damage that Poco dealt to the opposing tanks. You heard it from Boston when they played Valiant. Take out Fate, we can win the game. That seemed to be the same game plan from the Diva, constantly focusing down the enemy Winston.
That's exactly it. That's where we thought Philadelphia was gonna strike. You gotta go for the tanks the second that they go either dive or ignore their supports. The Diva is the one that decides to follow whom. You follow the Winston, and it's really easy to mow his face down when you got micro rockets against them.
22 of his 46 final blows on those tanks from the Valiant today. What an insane week we've had. We've had crazy upsets, ridiculous game 5s, and we still have another match for you, and it's just Friday. Are you guys ready for one more? When we come back, we got the London Spitfire, your Stage 1 champions, taking on the Shanghai Dragons and their new faces. We'll be right back.